Alright then, continue. And chapter 12 of Higurashi When They Cry. It should be the last one, I'm pretty sure. Do-do-do-do, Kichi. Kichi? Just leave him alone. His friends went missing. It must be really hard for him. Normally my dad never shows me any consideration, but this time he did. Shouldn't Kichi stay home from school for a while too? I think it would be safer not to go until the police do something about this. Maybe. Compared to what could happen, take a few days off wouldn't be a bad idea. Anyway, how is it logical not to close school during such a dangerous situation? What do those teachers think our children are? Mom and Dad were getting riled up, but at this point I couldn't care less. Besides, that wasn't the only thing I couldn't care less about. The breakfast table, the food in front of me, the time and date myself, I really had no interest in anything. This feeling, it was like a dead fog in my mind. It felt like getting dizzy after taking strong medication. Kichi, how are your studies going? You've gotten further than the other kids, haven't you? If you have, then you can take a few days off school, right? I didn't even feel like answering. Bum. Today was Thursday. Nice. Only 4 days had passed since the Watanagashi festival. Such a short amount of time, and yet, now things were completely different. Everything had changed. The tranquil village, bright and clear, as if it were an Indian summer, had undergone a total reversal. People were made to disappear every night, and we couldn't even relax when walking out in broad daylight. The village had become a world of fear. I had no right to curse this outcome. After all, the one responsible for everything was me. That night, I couldn't resist my honesty, tiny, little, and incredibly stupid curiosity, and broke the taboo. This isn't somewhere we should be going, is it? That's not. It's a crime to force your way into a locked building, even if you don't steal anything. Shion, now that you know that they weren't having some secret rendezvous, you've had enough, right? I don't want to do something like this. What if Rika-chan's dance ends while we're messing around here? I, patted on as I took the lock from Tomitaka-san's hand and put it back on the door. I'll forget everything I saw here, so come on, let's go. Takano-san was, threatened, but I pushed her away. Tomitaka-san grinned painfully. Shion's shoulders drooped as if she called me an idiot. Even so, I didn't care. I pushed everyone farther and farther away. Rika-chan's dance was still going on. Then, at last, her dance was brought to a close with a roaring applause. I too, until my hands turned red, I clapped. And I clapped. Ding dong. Is that Rina? Isn't that Rina-chan? She's here because it's your usual meetup time, isn't she? I looked up at the clock. It was 5 minutes past my time to meet up with Rina. Kichi, shouldn't you take a few days off from school? You're right. Thanks for being so considerate. I rose from my seat. I went to the entrance to greet Rina. Good morning. We're going to school as a group starting today, so you can't be late. Ah, that's right. If we're the ones furthest away to be late, the younger kids on the way there would be waiting for us. I think I'm just gonna take some time off from school. Okay. Rina answered shortly nodding. I think you should do whatever is best for you, Kichi-kun, so you don't need to feel that you're weak or anything. Oh, and here, to notice that they're sending around, could you give it to your mom? I think it has a lot of important announcements in it. I took the notice. There were a lot more pages than normal. The one on top announced that the disappearance of the Mayor Rika-chan Satoko and that they wanted any information about them. It made my heart ache. The police are looking at as best as they can too. They'll find them for sure. Just be patient, okay? Yeah, I don't think they're alive though. Rina said, smiling in an attempt to give me courage. Rather than that though, her smile looked like it was because she herself wanted to believe they were safe. Rina, you're not going to question me? Nope. Rina, you know, don't you, about that night? Do you mean when you snuck into the ritual storehouse? I was speechless for a moment, but then I bit my lip, made up my mind and nodded a little. Just all out in the open, really. I shouldn't do bad things like that. Michan was really mad, so she was upset. I suppose she would have been. I don't think she was as angry about you sneaking in here though, as much as about you trying to hide it from her. Maybe, Ki-chan, maybe you should have told her yourself and apologized. I should have told her myself and apologized. That troubled me. Just 1 week ago, this is something that I myself should have apologized to Mion for. I'd hurt her badly. However, I hadn't realized that at all. Plus, with all the confusion that Shion's appearance had brought, I still hadn't been able to talk to Mion about it. Rina, you're right. I never realized anything until you tell me. Kichi-kun, hypothetically, if you had admitted you've done something wrong right away and apologized to me-chan, I wonder if Rika-chan Satoko-chan wouldn't have had to disappear. I couldn't answer right away. I couldn't admit to that. Wasn't Rina telling me right now, though, that I should have admitted to my crime sooner? If I had done that and apologized, would things not have gone in such a horrible direction? Rina's eyes were filled with kindness, but they weren't naive enough to forgive me for keeping silent, and they stared fixedly into my own. Yeah, you're right. If I had admitted my crime sooner, then Rika-chan and Satoko wouldn't have had to die or disappear. Smack. The palm of Rina's hand slammed me in the cheek. I stood there unmoving, my head still tilted in the direction I'd been hit. It didn't hurt at all. I don't think that anyone has scolded you, Kichi-kun, so I'll scold you in their place, okay? I pressed a hand to my cheek, now warm with embarrassment, and quietly stared down at Rina's feet. Going somewhere you're not allowed to go was a very bad thing to do. Do you understand that? Uh-huh. Answer me with a yes, Kichi-kun. Yes. Also, what's even worse, you didn't even admit to having done something so bad. You should never do anything bad in the first place, but not admitting to it or apologizing for it is so much worse. Yes, I was wrong. For a few moments, Rina stared at me silently and intently, as if gauging my remorse. Then, finally, the tension in her face softened and she smiled. Okay then, it's about time. I should be going. Alright. Be sure to give notice to your mom, okay? Also, warn her not to go out to pass it on after it gets dark. Papa. I bent down to pick up the notice which I'd dropped when she slapped me. The pages had come out of the class and were now making a mess on the floor. I gathered them up one by one. My hand stopped at a single more light-hearted page with a peaceful sentence dancing on it. We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Shinozaki house if you want some. What is this? I picked up the page and scanned the rest of them. They were stockpiling high-quality soy sauce that they got from faraway relatives in the Akita province. They had gotten a big supply recently. They couldn't use it all, so they wanted anyone who wanted some of it to feel free to come over, is what they said. As a PS, it said they arrived in barrels and to please bring a 2-liter bottle or container for it. That's how it tied together. If you need soy sauce, then you would go to the Shinozaki house, Rina. Did you know all along? Yeah, I knew. Rina had already been suspicious of Mion, and soon as she noticed that the bottle of soy sauce was missing, Rika-chan had taken the bottle and gone to Mion's house, and there she was erased. Rika-chan wasn't coming back, so Satoko called Mion's house since she knew where she had gone, and then Satoko got called there and as well. At meeting on the day the mayor disappeared, didn't Uchi-san say that the 3 families participated in it? 3 families would include the Shinozaki family. Didn't he also say that the current leader was really old, so her hair Mion frequently stood in for her at public appearances? While the mayor was returning from the shrine, Mion called out and stopped him. She talked to him and invited him to their house, and then she made him disappear. It was probably even simpler to make Shion disappear. Shion was part of the Shinozaki household family. They probably knew exactly what she was doing at all times. I'm sure they even knew her part-time job schedule too. Thinking back, wasn't that Ninja Mart a store managed by the Shinozaki family? Setting up an ambush for her there wouldn't have been or trouble at all. I, I'm going to Mion. I'll apologize. I have to put an end to everything. Mion probably won't forgive me easily, but I'll go and ask her not to sacrifice anyone else. With that, I decided there was no need for me to lazy around here. I put on my shoes and slipped past Rena to exit the house, but she stopped me. I'm going too. Rena, shouldn't you go to school? This is way more important than school. Rena, you shouldn't come. If you get wrapped up in this too, then I think I might actually go crazy. Rena didn't move her arm, which was blocking my way. If Kichi-kun disappears as well, then I think I might actually go crazy too. So I won't let you go alone. Rena argued boldly as tears welled up in her eyes. I saw them and I knew the strength of her resolve. Alright, let's go. Thank you, Rena. Rena nodded slightly but firmly, and finally let down the arm blocking me. Let's go. To Mion's house. I'll apologize for the crimes I've committed. Then we'll put an end to these twisted days. After that I'll pray that once more we can return to those fun lively days. With Rena following me, I left the house. In front of the house there was a car waiting. It was Ushi-san. Hey, good morning, Mabata-san. To you too, Higura-san. Together so early in the morning, you make me jealous. Oof. What a truly praiseworthy man he was. If he had been lying in wait so early in the morning just to pressure me into talking, on this morning though, may actually be a good opportunity. You're from the police. Oh, have I not introduced myself to you, Higuro-san? Please excuse my rudeness. My name is Uchi from Akinomiya Police Department. Pleased to meet you. Are we telling Uchi-san? Yeah. I think my palm is enough punishment for your crimes, Kichi-kun, but you should leave me-chan to these people. Pain and sadness. I looked down as those emotions built up in my heart. We have something to tell you, Uchi-san. Well now, what about? Should we stand here and talk? Or go inside the car? In the car, please. I only continued to look down weakly. All I could do was to be thankful for how dependable Rena was. At Rena's urging, I revealed everything to Uchi-san, the latter while making sure to throw in murmurs that he was paying attention every now and then and took notes. We continued that way for a while. How do you feel? Don't you feel a lot better now that you've told me? Uchi-san asked this while scratching his head with a ballpoint pen. Of course I don't feel better. The price that had been paid until now for me not owning up to my crimes had been so immense. But as long as that payment wasn't returned, the load in my chest could never be removed. His radio started to emit static. Bzz bzz. This is Kumiyatani. Ushi-san, over. Yes, hello. This is Ushi. We got news a few minutes ago that she's been absent from school. No movement at the Shinozaki house. A target is still on the premises. Yes, good. Keep a close watch out. Roger that. Car 3 and 7 just arrived for support, and we've returned to base. Also, I think the division chief is looking for you, Ushi-san. He keeps annoying me, even though I keep telling him I'm trying to get in touch with you. What should I do? Nah ha 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 ha. If you're hard pressed for an answer, tell him you're actually under orders not to wake me up from my morning nap. Got it? Bzz. The radio grew silent. Sorry about that. It was about work. He just said there was no movement at the Shinozaki house, didn't he? Oh my, did it sound like that to you? This won't do. Please keep this a secret, alright? I don't have permission from the division chief to be making private inquiries like this. Ushi-san has suspected Mion for a long time. Nor for questioning witnesses, or for searching houses. We don't have permission for anything really. Shinozaki House's defense that to protect the family members are also in full working condition. Without a warrant, we can't do anything about anything, unless the crime happens right in front of us. Ushi-san, could you? Rina's tone alone was enough to make her spike clear as she stared at Ushi-san. You can't step foot in the Shinozaki house. Were you trying to get Kichi-kun to go in there instead? Rina, that's what you mean? This person, just as I thought, he really plays dirty. Stop, you hurt my reputation. That said, I'm all ears to your explanation, okay? Uchi-san lit a cigarette and responded to Rina, wearing an expression implying he was calm and willing to let her comments slide. You can't get a warrant, but you always had your eyes on Mi-chan because you thought she was suspicious. Hmm? Yes? You tried to incite Kichi-kun and have him go into the Shinazaki house. Then if something were to happen, you would have used that as an excuse to go in. Isn't that right? I only understood about half of what Rina was saying. I knew, however, that Uchi-san had been trying to use me. Even if Kichi-kun got hurt as a result, have you no shame? Is this how the police do things? My. It seems that we have an incredible detective in our hands. Oh my, would you be interested in taking our exam? I'll gladly write you a recommendation letter to get you into the detective division. You're despicable. Rina spoke quietly, her words dripping with hostility. I've been insulted in all kind of ways in my life, but one or two words from a young girl is always the roughest for me. Even so, I suppose I should thank you for not arresting me, Chanya. Don't mention it. Rishi-san seemed to be enjoying his exchange with Rina. The things that man thought were like a swamp. I could barely see past the surface. It reminded me again of how much I disliked him. Now then, as two esteemed friends of Mion and Shinazaki-san, what do you plan on doing now? Will you wait kindly for me to go over the evidence and request a warrant? No, we won't wait for that. We'll go and make Mi-chan surrender herself. That's right. If she turned herself in rather than be arrested, she might get a lighter sentence. At this point, perhaps, that was the only pity I could find in me to afford to her. I see. I wonder if it will go that well. If you're careless, you two may face danger, you know. Ishi-san was measuring our resolve. So in a strong voice I declared, we're fully prepared. Ishi-san gave us an unpleasant, yet surprisingly satisfied grin. It was then that I realized this man was trying to use us for his own convenience. If anything should happen to us, use that as an excuse. Though my greatest hope is that you will surround the place so that the crime criminal can't get away. Nah ha. Higurashi-san, you're good at negotiating too. I'm throwing in the towel. I surrender. What are you talking about? If the policemen surround Mi-chan's house, then that'll be insurance for the worst case scenario. Plus it would be another way of pressuring Mion to give us up, wouldn't it? Ah, Ushi-Takuma-chan. Bzz. This is, Kumatani. Go ahead. Our two friends are going to play at the Shinazaki house. Make arrangements so that we can reinforce them if needed. Roger. Zzz. Their all, all, their altogether too short conversation implied that our questioning was already a part of their plans. Then, let's get going. Want to buy some tea biscuits on the way there? Neither Rina nor I went along with Uchi-san's stupid joke. Ba-ba-da-ba. Uchi stopped the car at the place where we always waited for Mion. Come to think of it, I've never been to Mion's house before. I've only heard that it's right down this road. This is as far as I can take you. According to our information, there are quite a few security cameras set up on the premises. Still, don't worry. I've got a bunch of youngsters ready and waiting to slip past them and go in. We'll be monitoring the inside with a one-way mic, so if you two give a loud scream, we'll know right away. We'll persuade her for sure, so please be ready for her to turn herself in. In both our eyes was determination. It was the only method available for us for lightening the sin of our good friend. Be careful, you hear? You probably don't believe it right now, but I don't want you two being sacrificed if at all possible. You're right about that. With that rude response, we left the car. The clinging humidity and voice of the cicadas greeted us. I'd never had expected this would be happening today. Let's go, Kichi-kun. Rina took the lead and began walking down the road I've never been. Rina, you've been to Mion's house before, right? Yeah, a few times. It's a really big house. You could fit a mountain into their backyard too. You can pick mushrooms and stuff, though. There are fences everywhere. Big enough to fit a mountain, that was amazing. One of the three families controlling Kimazawa and the head family of the Shinazaki clan. Perhaps there was something to be said about its magnitude. Bum, da, 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 da. The path continues onwards, level and uneventful. There were metal fences along its edge, and beyond them were woods with trees growing thickly. The fences were high, the tops of them bent inwards, sticking out like sharp spears. Plus there was dangerous-looking barbed wire wrapped around them. No one could look at them and not feel intimidated. In addition, there were signboards hung up here and there along the fence. Private property of the Shinozaki family. Entrance forbidden. Beware of venomous snakes. Active security cameras. Intruders will be charged an entry fee of 1 million yen. This forest, or should I say mountain, is this all their yard? It's more like their domain. As you can see, it's private property, but nobody maintains it. The forest isn't really the kind that you can go hiking in. She could say that again. It really did feel like a neglected, savage woodland. It was dark and damp, and certainly not a forest that made you want to go in for a nice walk. Maybe that's just what happens when a landowner has too much land. Like Uchi-san said, there were security cameras hung up all over the place, though they had been weathered by wind and rain, casting doubt as to whether they were even functional. I wonder if Mion is watching us as we come to her. I don't think she is. The only people living in Michan's house are generally her and her grandmother after all. There's nobody watching the cameras. What a useless security system. Well, Michan's father seems like a pretty tough person to get with, so whenever everyone in the family is getting together, the cameras are apparently working properly. That's right. Mion's father, he was a big shot Yakuza, wasn't he? Venus smoothly danced around the answer as she explained. Alas, the huge gate as big as I'd imagined appeared. Was she living by herself with her grandmother in a house with such a grand and great gateway? I wonder if she's here. Beep. The old butler made a dull sound. Was it cut off in the middle and not getting to the house? We waited long enough without a response for me to start thinking like that. However, we finally heard footsteps walking through gravel on the other side of the gate. I nervously ball in my hand, my palms now sweating into fists. There was the clang of a bolt being released and the gate opened slightly. The person peeked out of the gap was none other than Mion. Hello. Well, this is unusual. Aren't you two going to school? Mion didn't seem all that surprised at visitors arriving in the morning, which wasn't a usual time. In fact, she almost seemed relaxed, as if she knew we were coming beforehand. You stayed home today. Kichan is one thing, but you two, Rina? You two are such troublemakers. Mion smiled lightly, in the way that the Mion we knew always did. Well, it's not like we can just stand here. Come on in. She gestured for us to follow her. I hesitated for a moment, looking at Rina. Let's go. Bum. Rina smiled cheerfully, as if she were passing through the gates of a good friend's house, and then did just that. I rally myself and then go through the gates too. On the other side, it hadn't been maintained for very well, but it was clear that the lot was magnificently wide. It wasn't quite what you would think of when you hear mansion, but it was very clearly a vast place. Was this the first time you've been here, Kichan? Yeah. This house is enormous. Steep thatched roofs aren't in fashion anymore. This place could be a tourist attraction. I want to rebuild it using totally average and boring reinforced concrete soon. Mion dryly smiled as she said that, then closed the gate and relocked the heavy bolt. Don't worry about it. Things have been dangerous lately. Gotta do at least this much during the daytime. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw a hint of shadow in her smile. Well then, good sir, madam, I shall show you inside. Please come this way. Mion bowed to us like a worker at a high-class hotel, and then pivoted on her heels and began to walk. Mion gripped my stiffening arm lightly. Kichi-kun, you're too tense. We came to see Michan, remember? You don't need to be so that nervous. That's right. When I get nervous, I tend to let everything show on my face. I stopped tensing up. Even if something were to happen, there were two of us. Yushi-san's subordinates were waiting outside the gates for us too. There's nothing to be worried about. After thinking about it that much, I realized my nervousness was already gone and laughed to myself. Alright. What's this? Mion, what's with this stone on top of the newspaper? It's in the way. There's a pile of newspaper on the floor of the entrance, and there was a large stone on top of them. I didn't understand why something like that was here. Rena noticed me looking at it questionably and giggled. Rena, do you know what it is? Some kind of good luck charm? Ha 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 ha. If you don't know, then feel free to move it out of the way and put your shoes there. Ha 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 ha. Kichikun, Kichikun, there's a nest of swallows right above the star stone. Huh? Oh, you're right. House is for people, but swallows still come in without permission and make nests. It must be like a tradition for them whenever spring comes. They always make a nest here. It's kind of annoying though. In other words, it's a sign to not take your shoes off there because swallow poop could end up in them. You can't help but laugh at this silly conviction. My laughter naturally spread to the other two. Really, a really long time ago, the Shinozaki family apparently cultivates silkworms. Ancestors would get all worked up over extracting the swallows. When you think of it that way, maybe this is our just desserts. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, come on in. Ooh, this is the thing in the intro. The inside of the house wasn't very bright at all. It was dimly lit, in fact, but mysteriously I could still feel an elegance to the place. Mion seemed to want a more modern building, but traditional houses like this aren't bad either. You're kidding, right? There's a terrible draft and the winters are freezing. Don't go making my house into a property of cultural significance and getting in the way of renovations, got it? What I want most is a house like yours, Ki-chan. I'm pretty jealous of it. Seems like you would be warm in the winter. Oh, but snowfall seems like it would be a problem. Snowfall's a problem? As soon as I would get that much snow? Our latitude is south of Kanto, isn't it? Isn't this region warm? Haha, you don't know Kichikun? Himezawa is in an area that gets heavy snowfall. When we get a lot, everyone gets buried. Sometimes you can't even get out of your house. Sometimes your car gets totally buried too, and you can't find out where it is. You can't find where it is. I wasn't aware of that. Himezawa was that bad a place in the winter? When I think of it, my dad, he said something like this place got plenty of snow so we could have fun building igloos. Literally, your front door getting buried, not being able to find your car, that's way too much snow. Ha 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 ha. You remember from geography class, right? The western side of Japan gets cold winds from Asia. But different from those softies protected by the mountains, nice and warm by the Pacific Ocean. I'm totally okay with being a softie and nice and warm. I hate the cold. Wahahahahaha. We'll have to have a training camp to get Kichikun used to the cold this winter then. No way, there's no way that's happening. I hate the cold and I hate training camps too. And I hate them even more put together. Mia laughed uproariously than she had ever had, then told us she'd bring us some tea and left us pussy for a moment. Still, there's a lot of fun things to do in the winter. I bet our club will be a blast then. Our club continuing activities through the winter sounds totally horrible, like swimming in the cold or marching in the snow. When did we turn into Mount Redhorn? Yeah, there are definitely a lot of rough punishment games for the winter season. One time, she made us have a real carnival in the schoolyard while snow was falling. I see the terror of our club heading off for the season. The victor would be decided by who could best adapt to the winter-only events. We do snowball fights and shaved ice cream eating contests, treasure hunting in the snow. Wait, why is everything outside? Why can't we play tabletop games in a nice warm room while it's snowing? Well, Kichikun, if you're saying things like that, then you're gonna lose a lot this winter. We'll have a lot of punishment games and Rena won't lose how. Don't think we're gonna get to winter, because we saw like in spring, don't we? Don't give me that hoe. I saw things with a cross chop to the head. I think most of these are just gonna end after the Watanagashi, right? Hahaha, you're sure having fun. Our walls aren't very thick, so be careful not to go flying through any, okay? The paper sliding door opened and Mion returned with a pot and a complete set of tea. Do you want some sesame seeds on your rice? Sorry, we don't have much in the way of bean paste or any other good stuff. It's okay, it's okay. We didn't really come here to drink tea anyway. And with those words, a smile disappeared from Venus' face. Ah, she did it. That one careless statement reminded us of what we had been able to forget about. I had wanted to enjoy this peaceful time for a little longer, but we put an end to that with those unseen careless words. When she noticed the smile disappear from Venus' expression, Mion too changed hers. It was as if the cheerful air that was like a warm spring day until a moment ago had slipped through the cracks in the paper door. And although it disappeared, there was no point in regretting it now. We had not come here today to chat and enjoy ourselves. Mion silently poured the tea. During that time, both Rena and I sat kneeling without uttering a word. Here you are, drink up. We couldn't even muster a word of acknowledgement at those natural words of courtesy. There's no poison or anything. Do you distrust me that much? That's upsetting. Mion gave a bitter smile at that and let her shoulders droop. We all remained silent. We remained silent, hoping that somebody else would speak up first. That was, however, the one thing we didn't want to do, and so we sat there for a long time. At last, Mion smiled scornfully and opened her mouth to speak. Hey now, Kicha and Rena, you're the guests. Didn't you come here for something? If you don't speak up first, this old man won't know what to do. Rena and I exchanged glances, and we both resigned ourselves. Rena opened her mouth to speak first, so I stopped her. Uh, Kichi-kun, it's okay. I need you to come here, so let me talk first. Okay, I understand. What would Kichi-kun have to tell me? Please give me your daughter's hand in marriage, maybe? Ha 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 ha, can't do that. My little Rena and Kichi-chan aren't meant for each other. Go wash your face with miso soup and try again later. Afterwards, I thought her mean remarks were Mion's only way of showing consideration. Mion had said those mean things in a totally normal voice, and it drained attention from my shoulders. Mion, first, I have something to apologize for. You do? What for? You pretended that you didn't know what I was talking about, but I'd clearly gotten my point across. On the night of the Watanagashi, the ritual storehouse behind the shrine, I went in there. I could see Mion's expression immediately becoming harder. I knew it was somewhere I wasn't supposed to go, but it was just supposed to be a little bit of exploration. We didn't mean anything by it. Even so, I shouldn't have done it. I apologize. I'm sorry. To display my deepest sincerity, I pressed my forehead to the table. I had meant it as my way of frustrating myself. I figured it wouldn't get sincere enough if I raised my head right away, so I left it there on the table for a while. Mion didn't say anything. With my face down, I couldn't tell what sort of expression Mion had. Only the voices of the cicadas filled the room. Mixed with them, I could hear the sounds of the clock ticking. That was all. When I started to struggle to breathe from having my head down for so long, Mion told me to stop. You got me there. I didn't expect you to pitch it to me straight. You got me on the ropes. I looked up to see Mion's face was calm, but she was smiling faintly. If you understand that, even though it was only casual exploration for you, Ki-chan, that there are a lot of people who think it's no laughing matter, then it's okay. There's an old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. It's been days since then. It may be too late, but I apologize. What I did was wrong. Please forgive me. I could feel pitiful tears welling up within me. If I had done this sooner, maybe nothing terrible would have happened. It's okay. If you know what you did was bad, then that's enough, right? You spoke like you were someone else's problem, and I wasn't happy about it. Mi-chan, Ki-kun is apologizing seriously. I think maybe you should respond seriously as well. I am being serious though. Do I not look serious to you, Rena? You don't. Rena was giving a tit for tat, so the room's atmosphere quickly began to go sharp. So, she was right. Even though I came here to speak from the heart like this, I feel like she hasn't been taking this seriously. Obviously Rena wasn't fond of that. Kichu-kun, you can get up now. Let's tell her everything. That looks like what Mi-chan wants too. I had known it would turn like this from the beginning. Hadn't I come here prepared for that? I mustered my willpower and bit my lip. Mion, you called Rika-chan Satoko day before yesterday, right? Before last, right? I don't remember doing so. If you have reason to think so, could you let me hear it? It was evening before dinner time. Rika-chan should have come here, bringing a big bottle of soy sauce to have you share some with her. Mia was trying to keep from showing any reaction, but I didn't miss her eyelid twitching from just a little bit. Why do you think that? This is not hard to understand. Mi-chan, you saw it too, didn't you? Rika-chan's room. Mia put a finger on her forehead and acted like she was thinking. There was chilled tofu, but no soy sauce. Plus, the big bottle of soy sauce that should have been under the sink was nowhere to be found. Ah ha ha ha, what? Is that why she would have come here? Mian dropped the act. You wrote it yourself on the notice, didn't you? That you would share your soy sauce. Mian scratched her head. I heard her ever so faintly click her tongue. It's as though we found out she's given a too little change to a servant. That's all I could feel from her. Then Mi-chan, Riku-chan, you ever, you hit her. Rina hesitated for a moment. I could tell that she didn't want to use the word erase, but that she was struggling to find another word. That was supposed to be the end, wasn't it? For you anyway. What are you even talking about? You didn't foresee that Riku-chan would tell Satoko that she was going to your house, did you, Mi-chan? Then Satoko-chan called. Might Rina be imposing on you? Yeah, probably just like that. Yeah, ha 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 ha. You sound just like her. Mi-chan, you were in a bit of a bind then, because somebody knew that Riku-chan had come here. So you decided to lure Satoko-chan here too. Lure her out? Like how, I wonder? Mion probed Rina on, as if trying to get to the good part of an interesting story. However, knew I had been watching Mion change the whole time. She was restlessly twirling her fingers. She had clearly lost her calm. Of course, it was a, a, a really a slight thing, and only I, who had been watching her this whole time, would have known. Mion was panicking. What Rina was saying must have been a bullseye. This probably went like this. Satoko, I actually made too much dinner for today. Wanna come over and eat? Riku-chan came earlier and already ate some. Something like that. Scratch. Mion's nail dug into her knee. Ha ha ha, there's no recording of the phone call conversation or anything. So how do you know that much? I know it because the dinner that Satoko-chan made for the two of them was in plastic wrapped in the refrigerator and hadn't been touched. For a few moments, Mion's face was frozen in utter amazement. She looked like she couldn't believe this person in front of her was Rina. With just that to go on, how did you even guess what was said on the phone? It's a long explanation, so I'll get to the point. The contents of the refrigerator proved a vivid account of what you said over the phone when you lured her out. Mion's jaw remained on the floor. That was the only way I could describe her face. That's... I had no idea I had such an incredible detective right next to me this whole time. I can't believe you figured that everything out, down to the phone call conversation just from what was inside the fridge. You got me there. You got me. You got me. As if dam had burst, Mion convulsed into laughter. The laughter, though, definitely didn't make us want to laugh as well. Ah. Mion grew tired of her dumb laugh, heaved a big sigh, and scratched her head. It almost sounded like Mion had lost a detective punishment game, or the club or something, and the punishment had been decided. Oh, how fun that would have been if that was true. An incredible detective. Mi-chan, you're the one who guessed what Ushi-san told us. He called me an incredible detective too. As soon as she heard Ushi-san's name, Mion, I began to display panic more clearly, so that anyone could tell. Mion, the police have suspected you for a long time. Ushi-san's officers have had the house under observation so that they could break in at any time. Mion attempted to fake calm, but it looked like she was having a hard time with that. Part of her couldn't believe that the police had her surrounded, and she closely examined Rina's facial expressions. However, she couldn't detect a hint of falsehood. Finally, Mion seemed to accept the fact that the police were encircling the house. Was the mayor Mi-chan too? Was Tomita-san and Takano-san you as well? Mion didn't answer our rapid-fire questions. I could clearly see impatience in her eyes, which was still offering a calm. Mm-hmm. At last, Mion, who'd been staying there lazily, readjusted her cushion and sat herself upright. At that moment, the atmosphere in her room had completely changed. Mion's expression also changed. The impatience and wonderment in her expression disappeared. She began to solemn. You would think she was about to conduct a tea ceremony. I could sense it. It was now, in this moment. Mion had ceased to be Mion, but had changed into Mion Shinozaki, the current heir to the Shinozaki house. The solemn atmosphere about her was clearly abnormal, and was entirely different from that Mion that I knew. Now I could believe it. Now I could believe that she was a young leader who commanded the entire Shinozaki clan. Mion quietly placed both her hands on the tarmac and gave a beautifully elegant bow, as if we were a tea ceremony, and named herself. We meet for the first time. I am the current heir of the Shinozaki house. My name is Mion. Mion's movements were so elegant they could cut, and couldn't even answer her. We couldn't even answer her. All Mion and I could do was watch baffled at her actions, which we could never imagine the normal her doing. I would like to welcome you to the Shinozaki main house today. I'll greet you all in place of our leader, Oreo. It seems as though you have various things you would like to ask. If I can be of any assistance, then I would like to answer without concealing anything. What? What did Mion just say? Mion said she would answer anything we asked? There was a strong light of resolve in her eyes. It's really alright if we ask anything then. I shall tell you everything I know. That is why you came here after all. Mion and I exchanged glances. There was a mountain of things we wanted to ask Mion, and we hesitated for a moment on what we should ask first. The first question Rina gave was extremely abstract, but it was the question everyone wanted to know by now. Why would you do this? That was what I wanted to ask as well. Why would you do this? That didn't only go for Rina and Satoko, it went for the mayor, Takano-san, and Tomita-san as well. And went further back, all the incidences that had been occurring every year. For a little while, Mion couldn't respond. Right when we realized that the question was too vague and tried to put it into more concrete terms, she finally opened her mouth to speak. To answer that question will take some time. If that is acceptable, however, then I would be I'll by all means like you to hear it. She spoke clearly. She spoke with clarity that grandmother might use when telling a story from a long time ago. Do you know that the Himazawa village used to be called Onigaushi village? Rina nodded lightly, then shot me a glance asking me if I did. I returned her nod. Himazawa was once called Onigaushi village, yes. I heard all about it that night from Takano-san in the ritual storehouse. They firmly believed that demon blood ran through their veins and cut off all contact with the outside world. They were worshipped by those in the village at the foot of the mountain, and tree-like transcendence, those capable of magic. That's right. Our ancestors in Onigaushi village were proud transcendents descended from the demons. Those in the village at the foot of the mountain worshipped and honored them. Nevertheless, that all decayed with the end of the Etora era. The black ships arrived. The era of the samurai ended. The era of national isolation ended, and the tradition of worshipping Onigaushi village quickly disappeared. Those things that linger from the past were all too detested. That was the kind of era it became. The Meiji era began, and the name of Onigaushi village, with its long history, was forcibly changed to Himazawa village. I have heard of the Meiji era government strongly wished to erase the old customs. The abolishment of federal domains and the establishment of preferences. An era had begun, seeing Japan putting up stairs that was beyond their means to try and reach the same level of the rest of the world. All things in the Western style were too extolled, while all the old traditions were too scorned. That was the sort of era it was. Our ancestors in Onigaushi village were proud that transcendents are descendants from the demons. Onigaushi village disappeared in a flash. At last, Japan, provoked by the great European powers colonizing countries in Asia, one by one, began a policy to increase its wealth and military power so that it could stand as a global power in its own right. Conscription began, and and they won at war after war. The first Shin-Japanese War and the Russo-Japanese War, and until the Pacific War broke out, they recklessly climbed the staircase towards modernization. At the time, Onigaiushi village had lost its impedantry. The villagers once worshipped as transcendents were now on the receiving end of inhuman treatment. The sacred Onigaiushi village had been groundlessly labeled an isolated village of those afflicted with incurable diseases, a mere shadow of its former self. It stood on the pinnacle of an era of hardship. Thus began harsh days where one would suffer unreasonable discrimination just because people knew one was from Onigaiushi. The children in the village at the foot of the mountain were taught not to go near Himazawa because filthy germs were rampant there. Children would come into contact with children in Himazawa, would cry and wail at their parents purified the spot they touched by rubbing salts on it. One of the adults said to the children that if you got lost in Himazawa, you'd be kidnapped by demons, cut into pieces and devoured. Never ever go near the terrifying village of the man-eating demons. That's what he taught them. Another said that during a farm a long time ago, people of Himazawa gathered all the corpses and discarded them to the dry riverbeds, then cooked and ate them in order to survive. Groundless stories, but said in such seriousness. Baseless slander added to baseless slander, making Onigaiushi historically accurate, bringing history all the more believable. Perhaps the chain of undue discrimination was a manifestation of people's anxiety towards the uncertain times. Of course, the stories didn't end only with the perspective of children. If anyone found out you were from Onigaiushi, you'd be turned down from any job you applied for. People would even go back on engagements and marriage proposals. As for the marriages where one partner had lied about it, as soon as the truth got out, they were made to divorce. Even caused trials. They would appeal that where one came from wasn't important enough to reason for divorce. They would, however, lose their cases. Lying about one's birth rate apparently constitutes a heavy act of misrepresentation in marriage. That's terrible. I've heard about such discrimination cases towards small villages in civic class. Just because others knew you were from a tiny hamlet, you would be subjected every social disadvantage there was, a modern form of bullying. Societal disadvantage. Though I only memorized that because it was going to be up on one of my tests one time, I recall being suspicious about it and unable to believe such discrimination occurred in modern Japan. Well, I suppose I can't say that they weren't asking for it. Our ancestors were proud of the human blood running through them. They lived their lives boasting about it and scorning those at the foot of the mountain. After all, they struck fear into the villagers down there with their mystic and demanded gifts of dread and tribute. With that, Mion smiled for the first time, albeit in self-mockery. During the Pacific War, during the slogan that all countries was acting as one, those from Hirazawa continued to suffer all manners of discrimination. There were too many ways to count. They would send their husbands and sons to war, and the women on the home front would suffer greatly too. My grandmother remembers it all well. She remembers it being a difficult time. Even that bitterly long war, however, finally ended in 1945. Hirazawa had lost many male hands, but at last their fathers and husbands and sons returned to them. Of course, there were also many who didn't come back. Nevertheless, for those in Himizawa who were at their limits, barely able to maintain the village without the men, their return was a very happy thing. Makucha GHQ set to work on drastically improving mindset and strove for the abolishment of unfair discrimination. They could feel day breaking on the dismal night that was the previous era. Himizawa was on the verge of turning into a ghost town. Those in the village started to say that they should rebuild once again and get to work, trying to make the village even a little more plentiful. During that time, somebody appeared to build up a fortune through a vast number of dealings in the black market. That was Mion's grandfather, the husband of the elderly, the current family lead, Shorio Shinozaki. Shori said that he managed food warehouses in Harbin, After being dispatched to the Chinese mainland, when it was time to pull out, he conspired with his superiors and comrades and stole a great deal of the army's canned goods. He hid them somewhere in the Shito inland island and sold them widely at a high price on the black market, thus earning a fortune. So he didn't spend that fortune on his own pleasure either. He entrusted the entire amount to his wife, the head of the Shinozaki household. Let's revive this ruined village. All who live here are our family, and this fortune is our collective property. So he proclaimed to my grandmother, the current head of the family, that vast fortune was the reason why Himazawa was revitalized after the war. I see. With that, Himazawa came back to life, and that's how the Shinozaki family had established its current prosperity. Of course, there were many people who begrudged the money coming from the black market, but the villagers no longer minded it. They succeeded at one business venture after another. Those who had successfully freely supported those who followed them. The giant family of Himazawa, tied together with strong bonds, kept on expanding its influence. Shinozaki family, the center of everything, would be extolled for a long time as the minds behind Himazawa's revitalization. The person at the middle of it all was your Nana, Michan. That's amazing. What a great success. Mion looked like she was honestly happy Rina had praised her. However, around 1955, the wind started blowing in the wrong direction again because of the canned flesh incident. Canned flesh sounded so hideous that just hearing it made me nauseous. I heard that thought from Takana, right? But she didn't explain it. Somebody named himself as my grandfather, Shinozaki's superior, confessed that those canned goods had been human flesh. Himazawa, a village in which demons live and humans. They were just about to wipe that cursed stigma away. The light they had finally started to see in their peaceful lives grew hazy and disappeared. The shocking truth, as reveled by his former superior, the stolen provisionals from the old Japanese army that had been a huge cornerstone for Himazawa's revitalization. Revival has been canned human flesh. Why were there cans like that? Wasn't Shiho just the manager of food warehouses? Superior reveals that Shinozaki did not have the job of managing the food. In reality, Shiho's job during the war had been to experiment a pestilence mints to transport the corpses of those with infectious diseases. It had been unfair treatment, and all because of the loneliness of his origins. As a result, though he had returned safely without having been sent to the front lines or being detained, perhaps that was the only fortune that had happened to him. Finally, Shiho was enlisted as an assistant at a military medical institution. There, however, he found something even more worse than the no-scone, depressing customs of Onigaishi village in the research they were carrying out. Could they have been, well, you know, the bacterial corpse in the old Japanese army or whatever? Chichikun, you've heard of that? What could it be? I was pretty sure it was Unit 731. It was a nightmare unit that devoted itself to researching terrifying bacterial weapons, bacteriological weapons to break the deadlock in war. They used many innocent people as fodder for horrible human experiments. They methodically observed how many days a new strain would take to kill its victims. How many days it would be when injected, how many days would be when swallowed. They dissected many people to find that out. Sometimes they wouldn't bother waiting until they were dead and dissect them while they were still alive. They would extract them into centrifuges while still alive and crush them into decompression chambers while still alive. A living human decompresses, all the holes in the body gets pushed outwards, and the intestines get pushed out of their anus like the snake winding out of it. I have a feeling I saw something like that on a documentary one time. That makes me sick. And they still hate Himazawa, huh? You said it. Mion agreed with me, giving a faint, sad smile. There wasn't much in the way of communication, but for some reason I was happy to have you right now. The uh, the unit Shohei was in did way kind of research than that. They were researching a concrete method of reducing difficulties of delivering food on the battlefield. The military designs at the start of the war completely fell apart and chronic food shortage broke out all over the battlefield. The food shortage led to malnutrition, and as their natural resistance lowered, soldiers fell to one disease after another. Spirit and morale lowered as well. They wouldn't be able to maintain their forces at this rate. Apparently, that's where this research stands. At first it was to find methods of delivering food to the battlefields. It was very broad and included things from final methods like stealing it from civilians to survival methods like how to cook on unfamiliar insects and plant life. As they were working out the details, they kept us straying off course and going out of control. Until finally they knocked down a door called Taboo. Wait, what do you think is the easiest source of protein on the battlefield is? Rina and I knew the answer without being told, so we didn't answer. That's right, they were researching ways to handle using humans as food, fighting onwards, sometimes eating the flesh of enemies and sometimes that of allies, became the ultimate service paid to their country. They were deadly serious about this doctrine. It really is a riot. My grandfather was detested as somebody who ate human flesh and yet had gone above and beyond that. Apparently he always thought about it too. Even if he was a vulgar man-eating demon, there were far more ugly demons than he. So no matter how much he was scorned, he wouldn't put up with it. At last they had a handful of test prototypes. When the soldiers learned it was human flesh, however, the scientists couldn't make anyone eat it, so it was apparently sent to the front lines. The cans were labeled meat substitutes, and so that they wouldn't accidentally eat it themselves, they stamped the bottom with a circle. The soldiers on the front lines apparently loved all the prototypes they were sent. Among them, those cooked in soy sauce, like it was Sukiya, loved it the most. Come on, Michan, stop! I'm getting sick to my stomach. Rina really was pale-faced, and she looked like she was having difficulty to sit on her knees, continue to sit on her knees. Mion looked like she had more to say, but she sighed lightly and stopped there. And those canned goods your grandpa brought back. I don't know if it's true. Shohei denied it was human flesh up until the day he died. However, those who begrudged Kimizawa's son of revival called him a savage for making a fortune from selling human flesh, and the village began to be scorned again. They returned to a time where children would be jeered at and have stones thrown at them. The stifling silence came back. What a seriously hopeless and sad story it was. They were discriminating against, and were discriminating against again. Why must they attach worth and rank to it? Why can't I live without looking down on people? Why can't everyone just enjoy life together? I didn't know. My grandmother, my family head, once told the children of the village one thing: if they throw stones at you, then two of you must throw stones back. The children asked her, well, they throw 2 stones at us. Of course, the answer was simple: if they throw 2 stones at you, throw them back with 4. If they chase 8 of you with sticks, drive them off with 16. If they stand 30 of you, yell back with 60. Finally, the children asked, what if we're attacked by 1,000 people? Even that answer was simple. If 1,000 people attack you, then everyone in Himizawa would stand up against them. It was a manifestation to spur people into action. My grandmother rose up not only as a leader of Shinozaki, but the mother of Himizawa. It was halfway through 1955. It was a time when riots over the treaty with the US were rampant, a time of battle and action. People in Himizawa joined together and fought treating unfair discrimination towards one as a crime against them all. It didn't matter whether that was a child or an adult. If they heard that a child had been told off, then everyone would crowd the house of the perpetrator acting as a whole. They heard that adults had been treated unfairly, Men and women, young and old, would all band together and stand up against her. If you meddled with people from Himizawa, you would always be in trouble. They probably figured that out, that if they could make others think that they would win. Kichan, do you remember how many people came to help you when you got involved with those delinquents in town? I recall how much of an impression it had left on me. That the people from Himizawa boldly came to my rescue, yet the people of Okinomiya averted their eyes so they wouldn't get involved. My grandmother fought and my parents carried on the fight. At last peace returned to Himizawa. Of course that peace had been placed on a razor-sharp edge. When you consider the previous 100 years of history, the tranquility now can be called a chance interval standing on uneven scales. Why? Could I really have an opinion on such a long and difficult history when I hadn't moved here more than a year ago? Yet I said it anyway. Why can't everyone just live in peace? What happened to those old stories of Orishida-sama that I heard from Takana-san? Man and demon joined hand and lived together in harmony. Didn't Orishida-sama remain in this world so to watch over that? It's a fairy tale. I mean that even if those people and the demons were real, the Orishida-sama made up between them wasn't. Is that why Orishida-sama's curse happens? A cool gust of wind blows in from outside, close to Mion's long, beautiful, clear hair. Mion kept her refreshing smile without answering. I didn't change her expression, but even that silence became an answer, so that Himizawa village might once more become like Onigaushi village, so that we may again be a sacred existence worthy of worship. That was the earnest wish of our ancestors in Onigaushi, and the mission of those who inherited the demon in the Shinozaki family. Those who inherit the demon. For generations, the Shinozaki family has had a custom of including the characters of the demons in the leader's name. If you write out my name on your hand, it should appear plain as day. I traced out the word Mion on the palm of my hand. Oh, she's right. The characters for demon isn't there. Not only in my name either, demon is engraved on my body as well. She said that she quietly rose and began to lay her hand on her clothing. It's okay, Mi-chan. You don't need to show us, okay? Thank you. With just that exchange, I guessed what she meant. Most likely, somewhere on her body, there was a permanent seal with such a tattoo or marking that proved that she had inherited the demon. Mion didn't sit back down. She smoothly opened the paper door onto the porch. A refreshing breeze began to cleanse the damp air filling the room. Mion quietly gazed out the wide yard for quite a while. On her shoulders was something I could never imagine a normal Mion would carry. It was heavy, truly heavy. Just your Himizawa no Onigaushi weighing down on them. What kind of words could I possibly say to that Mion like that? Mion wasn't listening anything to her either. Only the voices of the cicadas drowned out the silence. At last, after a long period of nothing, Mion muttered. The several instances happening over the past 5 years. I was directly related to some of them, indirectly to others. Some were not the Shinozaki family, but rather related to the others. The Kimiyoshi family and the Furuji family. I think I was the center of all of them. She said it without turning around, with her back to us. At some point her tone of voice had gone back to being the Mion we knew. I have faith in what I've done, and I don't feel any guilt. If I did, perhaps it would be that I will have to leave the stage before the hair is decided. If I am caught and tried in a court of law, and I suppose that's how it works nowadays, being able to retire with Himizawa at the most peaceful it's been in 100 years would be the happiest thing that's ever happened to any of the Shinozaki leaders of past generations. Mion leaned a shoulder against the paper door, then slid down it and flopped onto the ground. It was an act of such a resignation, that just seeing it made me hurt inside. The numerous terrible crimes Mion had been part of Sunny began to fade from my mind. Hey, Mion, I don't care what happens after this. Can't you just try to struggle as much as you can, try to run away? Since I began to think that way, Venus' ringing voice filled the room. But Rika-chan, Satoko-chan, you killed them, didn't you, Mi-chan? The sharp point of her words stabbed into my chest, despite not being directed at me. I'm not saying that it's okay if you kill other people. Regardless, Mi-chan, you killed Rika-chan, Satoko-chan. Mina's words were more biting than I'd ever heard. Even now, that we knew all the heavy history pressing down on Mion's shoulders, she had criticized her for killing our friends. Just as I bear the duty of the Shinzaki family, Rika-chan bore the duty of the Furuta family. That duty was to protect the ritual storehouse. My chest tightened. I learned about last year that Rika-chan had said something about it. The bars on the storehouse door were too heavy for her, and she wanted to change them to a simpler lock and key. Even the priest before her had complained about it being heavy. He was very aware of how hard it was for Rika-chan. I will make sure to guard it, so I want to replace the lock with something lighter. I replied on the behalf of the Shinzaki family leader. Ever since the string of freak incidences, there seems to be people who are insolent towards Ochida-sama, so you shouldn't replace the lock with a simpler one. That said, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family, Old Man Kimiyoshi, if it's that difficult for you, Rika-chan, then I think it's okay to replace the lock, he said. There was the very fact that it was locked with the key was an indication that it would be somewhere you mustn't enter. There's nobody bad enough to break through there to go inside, he said. Even if we were alike as leaders, I couldn't find it in me to argue with Old Man Kimiyoshi since I owed him so much. In the end, we decided to change out the lock on the storehouse and switch to a really cheap and light padlock. Old man, is this really alright? And Nana says that if it's possible, we should keep it locked all the same. It'll be alright. And quite the worry ward. If something bad happens, this old man will take all the responsibility. Do you promise? You mean that you will take all the responsibility as a leader of the Kimiyoshi family, right? You should be aware of how sacred things are inside of there. It's okay. There aren't any bad cats in Himizawa who would open the lock and break in. No, there is a bad cat. I guess there are bad cats from outside of Himizawa. Actually, Takana-san lives in Himizawa, doesn't she? She's the nurse there. Tamataki-san doesn't. Meow meow. Oh, sobs escaped from my mouth. Something hot and wet dripped down in spades and fell onto the tarmac mat. I had heard of thieves entering the ritual storehouse during the Watanagashi festival. There was 4 of them. We decided to act within the day. At the same time, we needed to demand that the ones who allowed the thieves to break in, Rika-chan of the Furuta family and Omen Kimiyoshi, take responsibility. My tears dripped and dropped, until just now I had decided that it was Mion's fault that she killed Rika-chan and the others. That was wrong. The one who killed them wasn't Mion, it was me. I might as well have killed them. Kichi-kun, I had a chance to stop this tragedy from happening, and yet I didn't. Cheap curiosity got the better of me, and I didn't. If at the time had stopped us from sneaking into the ritual storehouse, Rika-chan and the others wouldn't have had to die. If I had, then nothing would have happened. Does that mean Rika-chan and Kimiyoshi always have to die? Did he die in the first chapter? I don't remember that happening. Yeah, I don't remember Kimiyoshi or Rika-chan dying in the first chapter. We would be spending our days having lots of fun, like we always did. I think there might be a different thingy that caused them to die. I think Mio might be lying. I was an idiot. If by shedding tears I could take it all back, then I would have filled up the room with them. However, such a meager act wouldn't be enough to redeem myself from the crimes I've committed. Ki-chan, you're not at fault. Mion gently began to speak to me, as if trying to reason with me. As the leader of the Shinzaki family, I needed to act, but given the history of the Shinzaki family, thinking about it now, it's no big deal. Maybe I should have saved my friends, even if it meant casting all that aside. I yielded to it. That's why I killed those 2. I am Mion Shinzaki, and nobody else killed them. I had hundreds of chances to stop it, but I didn't stop. I gave in to the easy role that was handed to me, and abandoned all those thoughts of fighting for my friends. So this is my crime. I killed them. Me and Shinzaki with these hands killed them. And nothing whatsoever changes. Nothing. The masochistic laughter was sad, especially because Mion boasted in club that she would turn the tables on whatever precedences presented themselves. It was so painful. Still, Michan, you saved one person of your own volition, eh? As I looked at her surprised, Mion stuck her finger right on my forehead. You left Kichi-kun alive. As strong as you are, Michan, would have been trouble for you, but you didn't kill him. That's right. Mion was so cunning that nobody could stand up to her even in our club. She'd seriously tried to kill me. I would have been dealt with on the very first night. So many people had been sacrificed, but I was always left in the cold. When did I first realize it? Even though people were disappearing one after another, for some reason I had this vague belief that only I would be left alive. Why didn't I kill him? As a demon, I can't even begin to guess. Maybe Mion had some reason she didn't want to kill him. What is that supposed to mean? Shh. Mion placed her finger to her lips to say that Rina didn't need to talk. Is Ushi waiting outside? Yes. Any way out? No. They said they have the place surrounded. Seems like they called cars over the radio. I think they have your entire property surrounded. Mion fell silent. I'm sure there is like a secondary escape route. This is a pretty big estate after all. Rina's merciless words felt cruel, but they weren't meant to be. Maybe they were trying to lessen her good friend's pain, if only by a little. Maybe they weren't considerate like she was trying to help. Please, turn yourself in, Mion. Didn't open her mouth, but she smiled just a little. I'll go with you. We'll never leave a friend by herself. Crying children and Rina are the only things that I can't beat. Ha. She rose, scratching her head. Her face had returned entirely to that of the usual Mion. I'm well aware of how serious my crimes are. Even if they accept me turning myself in, they'll probably not be able to come back here. I couldn't say anything. The number of deaths Mion was involved in was just too large. So that maybe recommending that she turn herself in was in a way extremely cruel. So I'd like to you to hear one last selfish request. What is it? 30 minutes is fine. Just let me have some time alone with Kichi-kun. Huh? My name suddenly came up and it looked like I was the only one surprised about that. Kichi-kun? Da. Is that alright with you? Okay with you? If you don't want to, then I won't make you. You're right. It's okay if you don't want to. After all, I'm a demon, and Kichi-kun is a bona fide human who moved here from somewhere else. For us to be compatible, as long as Oishida-sama doesn't exist to mediate, simply isn't possible. There was no reason for me to hesitate. Mion had been engulfed by heavy, unstoppable tradition. Ooh, that was a lot actually. What was that? Right now the duty of handling this had fallen alone to me alone. In fact, it was me cornered. It would have been okay for her to blame me, but Mion didn't say a word of blame. Far from it, I was guilty of the same crime, and yet she let me go. Amidst the fate she could not oppose, she saved me alone. I don't know whether I should be thankful for that. Thinking upon it now, I didn't know how much easier it would be if I were to be granted the same punishment as Rika-chan and the others. The only thing I knew for sure was that I had an equal duty to bear the sins that Mion had shouldered. So when it came to Mion's last request, there was no reason for me to hesitate. Sure, it's fine. Thank you. I'd like to thank you too, Kichi-kun. Rina stood up. It looked like she was give a promise with Mion and leave. That's fine, Rina, you can wait right here. I just want to go around the yard with Kichi-chan. If you're bored, you can go to my room, you can read any manga you like. If there are any volumes you like, you can take them as well. I don't want to. Michan's books belong to Michan. Rina couldn't bring them back home with her so freely. Such a good kid, only at times like this. Oh, why am I clicking on that? Mion, took Rina's arms above it violently like cold. Let's go, Ki-chan. We began to walk after Mion, who headed for the hallway when Rina suddenly stopped me. Take care of Ki-chan. Yeah, Ki-chan really does believe she won't ever be able to come back. I don't know how much about laws, but as many deaths as she'd been involved in, the chances of her escaping as heavy punishment seemed non-existent. Watch out so you don't make her lose her temper, okay? Mion might not surrender herself to justice, so might as well put an end to it myself. Rina had already thought that far ahead, but I don't let that happen. Rina, rubbed at her tears, which had fallen without me noticing them. Okay, then go after her. I nodded and followed Mion, who had disappeared at the front door. Bum, bum, bum. I clearly could hear Rina sobbing from the other side of the paper door. Why was Michan made a successor to demons? Maybe it just had to happen that way, but it's just so awful. Something hot burned down my cheek. They were my tears. I fiercely wiped them away. This was the last time I could afford to meal, so I absolutely didn't want to let her see my tears during it. I was already waiting outside the front door. Sorry about that. Twisted Sisters. I put on my shoes, tapped my toes against the floor a few times and left and Mion timidly came over. Why is she turning over right at a time like this? Can I hold your arm? It was such a modest request. I don't mind. With my permission, her face lit up with glee like a child being given a toy. She took my arm. Do you get kind of nervous with your arm through mine? Nothing, for example, that would suddenly put you in a world-class joint lock or anything. You two say the same things. I don't think that. At all. Back then nothing had really gone wrong yet. During those nostalgic days of bustling commotion at Angel Mort, I counted back and was amazed. It had been only 1 week ago. I had been arm in arm with Shion then too. What if, Mion is Shion and Shion is Mion? Like, if Mion can pretend to be Shion, couldn't Shion just pretend to be Mion this whole entire time? Whatever. It reminded me that they were twins. How much strength they put into it, the sensation of their arms, their warmth, and their blood flowing. You could feel that their living essence were all exactly the same. I think Shion liked you, Ki-chan. I see. This was a regular conversation. I might have jumped back right in the face. Right now, though, no matter what I heard, my mind remained at peace. Mion and Shion, you got along well, didn't you? Well, I wonder. Ki-chan, do you think your right arm and your left hand get along? Huh? My right arm and left hand? I don't think you could describe them as getting along or not. That's how our relationship is. You can't measure it by scales of how long we get along. It didn't sound like it meant they get along really well. For example, one of your arms is dominant, so there will always be a better hand. If you only had one oven mitt, you'd put it on your dominant hand without thinking, right? I think maybe it was like that for us. It was the dominant hand. That doesn't mean though that anyone would be okay with using the left hand. It's that kind of unexplainable relationship. I think that maybe you live too close together and just stopped being able to see it, but I think that means you get along really well. I'm an only child, so the day before the festival, I was really jealous of when you and Shion were messing around with each other. I think you're jealous of something that doesn't exist. Yes, we twins used to have a lot of fun playing tricks on people, but now that we have such distinctly different personalities, it just gets in the way. Were they cursed or were they self-conscious? The relationship was hard to understand for an outsider. Maybe that was an issue someone like me shouldn't intrude on. Just staying silent and nodding gently was the best way to advance the conversation. Mion passed through the wide yard and invited me into the wide, desolate forest we'd seen on the way in. Such a forest was part of their property, so I couldn't help but feel small. It's huge. You must have a great time playing in it as kids, huh? Mion seemed to be silently reminiscing. I couldn't see look into her mind, but She was probably thinking back to the days when they paid the sisters blindly animosity. Every time the wind blew, it caressed the treetops and the leaves, making a swishing, murmuring sound. Mion remained silent for a long time, thinking back on our younger sister whom she had got rid of with her own hands. There was no need for me to get a word in. Just walking like this, arm in arm, was enough. Mion suddenly stopped and turned. Shion is still alive. Really? Mion took a hard look into my eyes and nodded quietly. Yeah, I had been thinking to give her the most horrible death of all, so I had her locked up. I never did think of a good way to do it though. Mion sounded as though she hated Shion, but also deep down she didn't completely detest her. So I looked, took my other hand and rustled Mion's hair with it. Mion didn't save me, she saved Shion too. Mion may have been a demon and led many people to their deaths, but she fought against it and was able to save 2 people. As I petted Mion, she narrowed her eyes in an entranced smile and untangled her arm from mine. Then Mion quietly said, "Come on with me. I want you to see all of my sins. Although Ki-chan, it might be the worst thing you've ever seen. I could sense it. There, I would probably find all the sacrifices up until now." Looking at them would mean accepting Rika-chan's as Satoko's death. I was well expecting that my best friend had done it. It already happened and it's in the past. You can't choose not to know Ki-chan. If you don't want to, then wait here. I will personally end everything. I was taken aback by how ominous that sounded. I remember that Rina had told me and Mina surrendered us out to justice, but instead chose to end things herself. I couldn't leave her on her own. Besides, I agreed to her last request, didn't I? Even if it was hard for me to accept, I'll still do it. Even if I avoided looking, it was something that had to happen. It doesn't matter what I see, yes? Mion Shinzaki is the best friend I could ever have. That won't change, it never will. The treetops silently swayed in the wind. You and Rina both. Why do you only get cool at times like this? Normally I would say something rude back to her, evading the question, but today I didn't. Today I just smiled. At last, Mion started walking. Bum, bum, ba, ba, da, into the thick forest, into the deepest parts. After following the thin path that looked like an animal trail for a while, we finally came across a steep incline with a tunnel that reminded me of a coal mine or a bomb shelter. We were surrounded by such shallow hills. It had been created in a span visible from the outside. There were many silhouettes of crows in the trees here and there. The abnormal odor I had been smelling for a while was doubtlessly escaping from inside this place. If you want to turn back, now's your chance. I don't know what kind of person Mion Shinzaki is to you, but if you want to go inside, that Mion will probably... She won't change. I'll say it as many times as I need to. Mion Shinzaki is the best friend I could ever have. I clenched my fist. Inside there was probably a sight beyond anything I could imagine. If I let my guard down, I might end up vomiting. Even so, I'll endure it. I'll overcome this pain and this suffering. I'll never change that Mion is my greatest friend. And I'm nothing more than a demon. I don't understand human feelings anymore. I have a feeling though, that I know why Mion fell in love with you. Don't say something don't say like it's not related to you. You're Mion. You're not a demon. You're a human being with human blood and you're my friend. Mion made a gesture like she was wiping tears from her eyes, and then placed a hand on the big door of the tunnel entrance. Bum 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 bum. The lock on the door only strong looking strong looking. It seemed to demand the appropriate resolve for whoever would enter, just like the ritual storehouse. With the double doors opened, a stifling rotten air and a bunch of winged insects came rushing out. I remember accidentally killing a hermit crab a long time ago by leaving its tank out on the porch, and how intense the odor it left was. If that was the smell of a corpse, then that's certainly what this smelled like. Inside it was pitch black, but Mion flicked a switch that turned on a light bulb illuminating the interior. The patch turned into a series of intricate wooden tunnels. We passed spaces that looked like they were for storage. We passed places that looked like somebody had lived there. All this indicated that it had been used as a bomb shelter and stockpiled during the war. It didn't give an impression of a dugout bomb shelter that had been left there, though there was a sense of dignity as though this was a second Shinazaki house constructed underground. Despite being in the pitch darkness below the ground, the voices of the cicadas were entering through an air hole somewhere, giving it a very mysterious feeling. You saw what was in the visual storehouse, right? The piles of storage for your instruments. All of them were created to uphold the strict religious laws of Higurashi village. They were tools used to kill those who broke the laws in terrible ways as a warning to others. That was a long time ago. Watanagashi, originally a ritual meant as a deterrent, was once overseen by the three families. But thankfully to the Kimiyoshi and the Furudu family, going to the decline and the way the times change, actually carrying it out became difficult. I can imagine why. You'd never think people would be okay with drowning people in a swamp and killing them in modern Japan. That's why the Shinazaki family built this. A secret place so that we could continue to conduct the rites of Watanagashi even in modern times. It opened the large, strikingly different door, and inside was none other than a modern storehouse with ritual implements. Ba-ba-da-ba! There's quite a few, isn't there? Some of them were actually brought here from the original storehouse. All the things there were rusted and covered in dust, so that they didn't look like they seemed real, but the things here were different. What, they're brand new? Every one of them had been well maintained and kept in a state that they could be used right away. Blades gleamed and spikes were sharpened. It was perhaps as a precaution for the splatter of blood. The walls and ceilings were covered in the kind of tiling you would see in bathrooms, and there was even a drain set amidst the slight slope on this floor. There was also a coiled rubber house along the wall, attached to a faucet, perhaps for cleaning up the bad blood. According to something a leader from a long time ago wrote, blood has impact, despite the fact that it doesn't tax the sacrifice. Watanagashi was meant as a deterrent after all. My ancestors thought of all different kinds of ways, different kinds of things to show off. As she said that, Mion pointed deeper into the torture room to a spot veiled in darkness. There was surprisingly a room flooded with tatami mats, and in the corner was a pile of cushions. There are seats for the audience. Watanagashi was meant as a deterrent after all. It wouldn't make sense if there were no guests. I couldn't speak, and I couldn't think of anything to say anyway. Except that if Mion revealing all this to me was made her heart feel any lighter, then I was prepared to listen for as long as I needed to. Does that mean it's invite only, or would you actually use it as a deterrent? Because if you actually use it as a deterrent, I think it would have gotten out right word of it. So I guess it's like more of an invite only kind of situation. Right here is where I kill people. Where I killed everyone. There was no spectators to watch me, but I did the ritual Watanagashi very well. Or perhaps there was one spectator. Huh? A spectator? Me. I the demon who was watching the entire time Mion held the Watanagashi ceremony. Me and I cackled in self-deprecation. It wasn't a nice sounding laugh. Back there is the prison. Is Shion there? She nodded slightly. Mion's Watanagashi had ended today. I needed to tell Shion that I was safe without a moment's delay. After all, she was probably trembling in fear at this very moment, worrying about when she would be killed. The restoration door on the other side opened, revealing what must have been an incredibly expansive room space based on the echo it made. Mion groped around in the darkness, and a handful of naked light bulbs came on here and there. As my eyes adjusted, more and more of the great cave showed itself in the faint light. The walls were bare rock surfaces, and it felt so savage that bomb shelter was a most apt term for it. Apt. There was a small barred rooms built here and there, like holes made by insects biting their way through a giant piece of fruit. It was immediately clear that each of them was a prison. Where is everyone? Rika-chan and Satoko. Their corpses? I grimaced at her, having said it so outright. Yeah, that's right. The poor things being left here in the dark like this. I didn't want them to get infested with bugs, so I threw them down the well. I'm sorry. I can't even see their faces in death. Once again, my feelings of regret at having confessed everything to Rika-chan came surging forth. If Mion hadn't attached the word sorry to the end of what she said, I might have punched her. Calm down, Kichimabara. You said it yourself, no matter what, Mion Shinzaki is your greatest friend. Yeah, my greatest friend. I needed to hear myself say it out loud again. Then came the clattering of bars in one of the cells deeper in. When I noticed it, I looked up as well. Shion? Is that Shion? Ki-chan? Is that you, Ki-chan? I ran over to the cell. White hands were up, peeking out through the gaps of the bar. It really was her. Are you alright, Shion? Are you hurt? No. Shion's face twisted out of shape as she screamed. It was because Mion had appeared right behind me. Of course, Shion didn't know that everything was over yet. Calm down, Shion. Everything is already over. Everything? I spoke in a calm voice as I managed to try and soothe the agitated Shion. However, it didn't seem like it was getting through her screams. Shion, how have you been? No more, please. No more. I don't want to see anyone else die. If you hate me, then just kill me already. I'm the one you hate, right? Kill me now. Calm down, Shion. It's all over now. It's gonna be alright. So calm down. Shion who was screaming and rattling the iron bars back and forth, was truly in a frantic state. I gave a slight shrug of resignation, giving away to Mion. I had to realize that if Mion was the one who locked her in here, and if Mion was the one who had scared Shion this much, then Mion was also the one who could put an end to this. Mion spoke from over my shoulder, quietly. Relax. I won't kill you. No, I won't kill you just yet. She burst out into a bizarre laugh, as if trying to make Shion's manners even worse. Shion broke into a, a feverish shiver brought on by that laughter, and rattled the iron bars as she wailed. Please stop. Don't kill Ki-chan. Ki-chan has nothing to do with this, does he? If you're gonna kill someone, then kill me right now. I don't want anyone else to die. Ha 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 ha. If you want to die that badly, then after I've killed this man, I'll take my time making mincemeat out of you too. In accordance with the ancient rites, I'll do it slowly, starting with your excrements. I'll shave you down and mince you. I had that mincing machine set up specifically for you after all. Or would it be funnier if I were to mince up Ki-chan in front of you? Hey, push already. What do you have to gain by scaring her at this point? No. Ki-chan, run away. I tried to rebuke Mion by flinging terrible words at her this day in the game bar. When I turned around, Mion's mouth so much as so that it was hard to believe that twisted into a shape even thinner than a crescent moon, it was a smile. It sent it like a jolt of electricity. This person here wasn't my best friend Mion. He wasn't the Mion Shinzaki who had been tossed about by heavy duties that succeeded in the Shinzaki family either. Then, who was she? Bam. Little sparks flying before my eyes, like what happens when you get hit in the back of the head. The strength of my body drained instantly and my head suddenly became heavy. My knees buckled under the temperament and hit the floor. My whole body abruptly collapsed. My face should have hit the floor, but it was comfortable as if I had fallen down from the time my consciousness reeled then receded. It was this kind of sensation, like you took a nap in the car, but you're still half awake and you could listen to your parents talking as if they were far away. No, you wouldn't be listening, you would only be hearing. It was happening so far away and the conversation was completely unrelated to you, so you would have no interest in it. So whenever Shion was yelling in my ear or Mion was in vulgar hysteria, I don't think he was annoying, nor was I interested. Now then, I wonder how I should go about preparing you. Oh yes, what do you think about a bed of nails? I tested it on those little brats, but the hands were too small for the restraining table. Let's do that, ha ha ha. Mion held up from behind and dragged me across the floor. The soles of my feet scraped on it, and one of my shoes fell off. No. Please stop it. Please. Please, stop. Shion's emotions exploded outwards as she burst into bitter weeping, as if her crying had welted Mion's interest. She flung me down and returned to the cell again. Held. My, you sure can cry with a cute voice, can't you? Your unnatural bravado was making my skin crawl, but this definitely suits you the best. Q. Me and my big sister, I beg you. I don't care how you choose to kill me, but please at least let Ki-chan go. I'm begging you. She had always acted as though she were a cut above her older sister. That she in such a miserable voice, I couldn't even imagine it during those peaceful times. Prostrated herself before the older sister. She used to scoff her and pleaded forgiveness. Mia looked down with an expression of cool indifference, one that was plainly smiling with joy. You know, I wasn't planning on listening to your petty wishes. The way you're crying though is just too funny. I think maybe I'll change my mind and listen to you. Since you come to think of it, I never did anything big sister like for you. Yes. Thank you so much. Alright then. Let's hear you apologize for everything. Then maybe I'll let you be under the water under the bridge, and maybe, just maybe, I'll let Ki-chan go. She said she might let me go, but she never said anything about letting Shion go. Before long, Shion got on her hands and knees behind the bars and began to speak weak words of apology. They were too faint for me to hear, but their intention got across. Despite having rushed her with a magnificent, jubilant expression, Mion kicked at the bars and declared she was unsatisfied. You think you can make up for years of grudges and have hard feelings like that? That will not do. I guess I'll have to make mincemeat out of both of you. No. Wait, sis. One more chance, just one more chance. Mion stopped and waved her hand in resignation. No, not because she had grown impatient, but only because she was taking delight in abusing Shion. You can't apologize to satisfy me, to my satisfaction anyway. I teach you how to make an apology that will get through to your older sister. I'm only going to tell you once, and if you ever get a letter wrong, you're out. Got it? Yes. Thank you, sis. Oh. Shion's miserable voice cried out, having become utterly hoarse. The sensation tearing through my chest returned a little at a time. I realized there was a feeling of anger bubbling it up. I was slowly regaining control of my body. However, I was only able to feel my skin and my blood flow at that moment. I still couldn't voluntarily move my fingers. Didn't you memorize it? Then let's hear you say it, sincerely and faithfully from the beginning to end with all your heart. If you don't say it properly, then I'll only. If you do properly, then I'll only kill you. Yes. Thank you so much. Something was strange. Something had become strange at some point. So just a few moments ago, I was sure this had been Mion, but at some point, to become someone else. Mion I knew would never do something so nasty like enjoying trampling over someone's dignity like this. Now, let's hear it. Your big sister is listening closely. She, on Shinozaki, is. When I ran over to Shion-san earlier, had the Mion thing been swatched out with a fake one right before me? Anyway, this couldn't possibly be Mion. Shinozaki is a lowly water soul not fit to even lick big sister Mion's feet. And when I think about the countless things I've been rude to my big sister without knowing my place, yes, that's the spirit. I'll permit you to say a little more now, okay? Blood circulated through my entire body, my whole body. My numb senses were returning. Just a little more. While Shion is holding Mion's... No, that thing pretending to be Mion's attention. Hurry up. I reflect on my, impotence I have been, and I swear loyalty to the big sister Mion for the rest of my life, so, ha 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 ha. Mion's burst of laughter echoed throughout the whole big cave, growing to a terrifying level. That was not the laugh of someone who was alive in this world. It was none other than the laugh of a demon from the bowels of the earth. She laughed from her stomach until she grew tired of it and stopped smiling suddenly as if snipping a wire. Alright, that was funny enough for me. I didn't think you'd throw away that much of your pride. That was plenty enjoyable. Mion began to drag me again, after I finally got the feelings in my body back and pulled me towards the torture chamber. Says, only kill me. Please forgive him. Don't worry, alright? I'll be sure to kill you real good, after letting you get an earful of Ki-chan's screams that is. No. After dragging me to the torture chamber, she skillfully strapped me into the restraining table. Before I knew it, I was spawned out and bound. She forcefully opened my hands, with which I couldn't even make the slightest fist, and as tightly restrained each one of my fingers. She fastened out only my hands, my fingers at that, tiny with hinges, and locked them in place. Sis, don't kill him, sis. The door to the big cave with the jails had been left open. I could hear Shion's cries of mortification the entire time. Can you hear it, Shion? I'm going to get started now. Please enjoy Ki-chan's young screams. Give it a fucking rest. The feeling in my body returned, and the first action I took was to tell that thing that looked like Mion. Awake at last, are we? I lied before, you know, about wanting to give Shion the most miserable death of them all, but locking her up because I hadn't thought of a good way yet. That was the lie. Mion brought over something like a toolbox. From inside, she removed a large metal hammer, and next to that, she began to line up what looked like long, strangely shaped nails, whose ends had been turned into hooks, like the kind you would see on a harpoon. I let her hear the screams of all the people that died because of her, and after they soaked in to her very soul, then I'd kill her. I've got plenty good taste. Who are you? Huh? I'm Mion Shinozaki. Has the fear driven you crazy? No, you're not. There's no way you can be Mion Shinozaki. Mion snorted and continued her preparations for terrifying torture. I see. Then if I'm not Mion, who am I? A demon. Huh? You're not Mion. Mion was just here. Give her back. Ki-chan, is your brain really okay? Doing okay? You're not crazy with fear. Don't touch me, you damn demon. Give her back. Give Mion back. My best friend, give Mion back. Mion stood there for a few moments with her jaw hanging open, not having expected me to say that. I myself knew that I was about to go insane. I knew it was nonsense to imagine Mion's return when she was right in front of me, but this person in front of me couldn't possibly have been Mion. There was no way I could accept that. So this is what I thought. Mion had really been possessed by a demon and was controlling Mion as if it was a separate personality. Mion was just a victim being manipulated by the evil one. Was really this thing. It had all been the doing of this demon possessing her. When Mion heard that, she started to go full laughing so hysterically that she started to cough and almost choke. You really are a piece of work, you know that. In this very moment, Mion Shinozaki is trying to kill you and you're trying to reject me. I never knew there was such a funny person in all the world. If you want to laugh, do it all you want. No matter what you say, I won't accept that you're Mion. Give her back. Away with you, demon. Wahahahaha. Ki-chan, are you trying to kill me by drowning me in my own tears? Wahahahaha. No matter what, I won't lose that laughter of hers. Feel that laughter of hers, I shouted loudly. I shouted from the bottom of my heart so that the real Mion trapped inside the Mion I saw in front of me would be able to hear. Ba-ba-da-ba. You can do it, Mion. Don't lose to that piece of shit demon. You're strong, so show me how strong you are. Wahahahaha. Wahahahaha. The tears welled up and flooded down her face. Her hands were busy with the restraint, so she couldn't wipe them. She just let them flow. Please, Mion. Mion. Why did you lose to a demon like this? You're not that weak, are you? Don't lose. Fight. Fight. Mion, desperately enjoying her laughter, pressed one of the long nails to the tip of my pinky. In her left arm was the hammer. At her side were dozens more nails. I could tell that she was about to do it, though. I wished I couldn't. Even though I couldn't afford to be scared, that was why I shouted. Wahahahaha. Ah, my sides felt like they're about to split. Is that all? I'm about to get started now, so be sure to give her some good screams. Not only am I torturing Yuki-chan, but I'm also torturing Shion as well. Why? Why would you? Mion. Then I wept. Only sobs came out. I wanted acceptance of the torture about to be performed, however. They were tears of regret that Mion had lost to the demon. Yet a small change did occur in the Mion in front of me. A heightened excitement was draining little by little. By the time I realized it, the only thing being in front of me had returned to being Mion. Ki-chan, this may not be something pleasant to take to you with the grave, but you really seem to want to know, though, so I'll tell you just one thing. I didn't know if this was Mion, or just a display of monetary humanity the demon had recovered. A long time before the demon came to live inside me, it was grooming at my heart, trying to spur me to violence, but I suppressed it with my reason. That settled the demon down, and I got to thinking it had gone away somewhere. Okay? As it turned out, I was wrong. It hadn't left me, it had just gone to sleep. I noticed that there was something. There were tears forming in her eyes. The demon woke up again due to a certain small opportunity. What do you think that opportunity was? There was a sad, yet irreproachable light in Mion's eyes. Do you understand? I don't. I don't know what gives demons a chance to beat Mion. This might sound strange for me, a demon, to say, but you're the reason that everything got so messed up. Tears running off my eyes, spilled downwards all of a sudden. At the time, if you had given me that doll you got without hesitation, everything wouldn't have gone so twisted. The doll I got, that doll that I got when we had our club meeting at the toy store that Sunday. You probably can't understand. I wouldn't expect you to, but you see, all sorts of things started falling over like dominoes after that, and soon it was too much for me to control. It only makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of knocking over the first one, since it was so small, but you're the one who set it up. It can't be me? So, is that why they didn't die in the first chapter? If you hadn't made Mion cry, then I wouldn't have had to wake up. Is that enough for you to die in peace? A mistake that I made on that day was what messed everything up. That can't be, can it? Well, it makes sense that you wouldn't be aware of it. Even so, Ki-chan, you are without a doubt the cause. And if you nonchalantly given me the doll that day, then I don't think this would have happened. I wanted to say like I just remembered something as I recalled that day. Mion had told me about that, and I thought I had apologized. I didn't even apologize to Mion though. It had been Shion. In other words, oh god, I hadn't said a single word of apologies to Mion. Today I came to this house saying I had something to apologize for, but I never said a word of apology about this. Come to think of it, when I apologized for going to the ritual house, Mion looked a bit lonely, like she was disappointed. Why didn't I realize that until just now? Mion told me at that time, and now she herself, no, the demon was telling me. It's the only way to dance idea like me to be cursed, to die together. Ugh, oh. I no longer hold back the tears from pouring out of me. I simply cried and reflected indefinitely on the taste of my tears, and the taste of regret. Can I start now? This method of torture is very simple. I'll nail one of these into the joint of the end of your pinky finger. Then I'll nail each one in order until I get to your thumb. And then I'll go back to your pinky and nail one on the joint in the middle. So on and so forth until I nail 15 into your left hand. Is it 15? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I guess it is 15. Well, that's over with. I'll do your right hand next. After that, if you're subconscious, I'll tell you. There's a lot of nerves bundled into your fingertips, so nails far more than you can imagine. Some people apparently passed out before you finished hammering 30 nails into their hand, so pressed the tip of a nail to my left pinky finger, my wrist, my arm, all the joints on my fingers. The strap is so tightly that I couldn't even twitch. I didn't hesitate at all when I was torturing the others. Why do I hesitate now? This is to satisfy your demon, Mion. I will satiate the demon, and do to me what you will. You serious? Compared to how much I hurt Mion, this is nothing, right? Do as much as you want in exchange. Promise me 2 things. Mion went silent. She did, however, wait for me to speak. If you're satiated with causing me pain, forgive Shion. She's been punished enough to make up for her crime of sneaking into the store, hasn't she? You. After all this, you still worry about Shion more than yourself. The other thing is that when you've had your fill, you disappear. Give that body back to Mion. That's all. You know, are you not even considering possibly begging for your life or anything? Can I ask you to promise 3 things instead of 2? Third is to leave me alive. You said 2 things in the beginning, didn't you? So you can't have any more. That's a shame. Such an abnormal situation, Mion and I laughed together, as if sharing in a stupid joke. I probably won't be able to keep those promises, understand? I'm a demon after all. I guess there's nothing I can do then. I recalled tightening my hand to a fist when enduring the pain at the dentist's office. Right now, though, they were opened all the way to my fingertips, so I couldn't even grip them. So instead I tightened my toes. Okay, do it. I prepared myself already, so do it. You waited like this to hammer the nails it in is scarier. It's going to diminish my readiness after all. Mion put down the hammer and gently stroked my cheek. Ki-chan, I'll agree to just the 3rd thing, okay? Huh? My 3rd wish, to save me. She'll agree to it? Your 1st wish, save Shion? That's long done for. The demon will kill her. It's already been decided, so I can't stop here. So give up on that. Her delicate fingers slid down my cheek to my chin. As for your 2nd wish to give this body back to Mion, that won't happen either. After today, Mion will never come back. From today on, even if my body is here, it will just be a body, because the Oni has taken it over. That isn't true. Mion is still Mion. Don't say such a sad thing like that. She won't ever come back. Can you hear it? That sound? Mion gently closed her eyes and listened. I definitely heard it as well. Slam. Slam. It was a dull sound that repeated at fixed intervals. A low sound occupied by vibrations. A lot of people were ramming the iron doors to this underground ritual storehouse. You were late, so Rena probably called Ushi. That spaced out girl being so quick thinking was the only thing I didn't anticipate. I'll agree with you there. Mion grinned like she'd been outwitted, then took something that looked like an electric razor out of her pocket. When she pressed the switchblade, blue sparks flew out with a snapping noise. You've probably never seen one before, right? Is it a taser? It's a real stun gun. It's illegal, and its output has been increased quite a bit. Was that what you hit me with before? That's not a toy children should be playing with, you know? You're right. You seem to want to use a stun gun on me. Unable to move, I felt her press the cool lump of metal to my neck. Slam. I heard a roar as though they broke down the first large door. The halls were a bit complex. Aside from the old door to this very chamber room, there was nothing in their way. I won't kill you, but I'll have you go to sleep for a bit, Ki-chan. Yoshi-san will be here soon. This will only hurt a bit. Being in the same shock as before, gritting my teeth wasn't going to help much, but I glanced them quietly anyway. However, just as she did when she was about to hammer the nails in, she hesitated a little. I crept over my slightly closed eyelids. I'm sorry for disgracing Mion. I made a promise before coming in here. Whatever happens to Mion inside my heart won't change. Forget about that. You ever see me again today? Don't come near me, but then it will be the demon that inherits my corpse. What are you talking about? Just as I tried to say that, a much stronger light than before shined, and the television being switched off, my consciousness went black. Bum, bum, bum. Is Higurashi when they cry now? Ooh. June 1983, a string of disappearances occurred in Himizawa village, Shinabone. The suspect is Mion, 1X years old. She is suspected to have kidnapped 5 residents Himizawa residence between June 19th and June 21st. Oryo Shinozaki, you kidnapped. Preliminary investigations on the incidences were delayed at the time due to insufficient evidence, but it was resolved coincidentally and shockingly. On the morning on the 23rd, the vehicle patrolling the Shinozaki household heard screams from inside and rushing to emergency measures. They secured the suspect, missing a younger sister, Shion Shinozaki, and her two missing classmates, Kichi Mabara and Rina Higura. Deep in the detached basement on the Shinozaki property, which is believed to have been used to kill those who disappeared, we discovered hair, flakes of blood, skin and blood of the other four missing people. Oryo Shinozaki, Kichi, Shimiyashi. One of our imprisoned classmates advised we continued searching the detached basement of the Shinozaki property, which was. In addition, the investigations are continuing as to participants in the serial freak death incidences of recent years, thinking it would give more clues, but no evidence that Mion Shinozaki was involved either directly or indirectly has been found. There are still many unclear points as to the motives behind the incidents, as well as the Shinozaki family and the residents of Himizawa. The opinion of local officer knowledge about the region is that this may have been a lynching and internal form of punishment, a sacrilegion acts carried out against the police of Himizawa village. It is clear that we anticipated gaining valuable clues from the missing people believed to have been imprisoned for the longest time. Shion Shinozaki, the suspect's younger sister, but mine was stricken by the grave after effects by the incident, as she has not been in a state of mind to be properly answering any questions. The psychiatric concluded that it was seen as a okay. I didn't get to read all of that, but okay. Only a few days passed since then. That time. After that, I was rescued by Ushi-san and a subordinate whom Rina had called in. Aside from my entirely blank state of mind, I had no external injuries. The most I had was a small burn mark from where the stun gun hit me. As I was having a checkup in the hospital, Ushi-san asked me all sorts of things. But I don't really remember what he asked or how I asked and answered him. From what I heard, surprisingly, Mion still hadn't been captured. There were apparently a great many hallways and smaller rooms extending out from the depths of the prison. It wouldn't be strange if she had fled to one of those hidden rooms herself. The one fortunate aspect amidst all the misfortune was that Shion had been as safely secured by the police. When I last saw Mion, she seemed like she was going to take her and then kill me. We probably didn't have enough time to, though, since Ushi-san came running in faster than she had predicted. That was the only unfortunate thing to have happened. Of course, the rescued Shion, despite having no external wounds, now has a big deep wound in her heart. She was in severe state of confusion when the police rescued her, and was apparently she bit the police officer trying to resist. From what he heard, when she saw, she was seeing Shion and everyone she saw, hated not only the hospital but even her own home, and shot herself somewhere in Shinobone, hiding her location. Additionally, in fear that Mion would come over for her, she was moving from place to place every day, and even her parents wasn't sure where she actually was. But whenever she was living, or even now, Shion was spending her days in Mion's fear of Mion's shadow. The police were investigating the Shinozaki underground storehouse at the moment. I wonder if Morishita-sama can possess any one of the three family heads, but like Rina is special. It's like she's like a medium or something like that. Especially she can also be possessed. And maybe the demon is Orishita-sama. And like Orishita-sama still has like some sort of control over Mion. But he's taken full control after that doll thing happened. And that's why it didn't happen in the first chapter. But Mion also had the blue eyes in the first chapter. Which I think the blue eyes shows partial controls then. The police were investigating the Shinozaki underground storehouse at this time, since they couldn't find the remains of the other sacrifices. Hadn't Mion thrown the corpses into a well? I had a feeling I said that to him. That meant this hidden tunnel, vertical like a well, somewhere in those underground passages. Secret underground without any maps or architectural drawings, which had swallowed up the remains of Rika-chan. Toko-chan and everyone else was still unwilling to speak the truth. I was brought back to the basement again for an underside inspection of something, but I didn't remember being of any help. I never wanted to go back there again. A few days afterwards, the Shinozaki living in the Okinomiya, in other words, Mion's and Gion's parents, the big names Yakuza, would come to our house to apologize, bringing many of their followers with them. However much my parents refused it, they piled up more 100,000 yen bills, calling it con- consolation money every day. The amount of money grew every day, and after it had passed 2 million yen, they were then given an envelope containing a letter. I don't know what was written in the letter. My parents talked about it by themselves for 2 nights and decided to move away. Oh, we're leaving Misawa? I see. You're moving, huh? When? At the end of the month, end of next month. I won't even have been here Misawa for half a year. I'll be lonely. I'm the only one left. Mina smiled sadly. If I had just said yeah, I thought it would make her even more lonely, so I changed the subject. Here's something to think about. That's how I broached it. Mion hadn't actually fled, but she had been demoted away in the true sense of the term. Where she went after she disappeared, that we didn't know. What was there where she had disappeared to? I hope there was a hobby shop dealing in imports the kind that Mion liked. In that place, she would definitely be free from the brothers and fetters of her family. I lived not as Mion Shinzaki, but as just Mion and enjoyed herself. Maybe she'd already met up with Satoko and Rika-chan. They must also have been waiting for the day Mina and I would join them, spending all their time doing club activities, as lively as they always were. When I told Rika-chan Mina that, she smiled and nodded to me. Hmm, I'm leaving. The incidents of the Shinozaki family has been trying hard to hide too, were exposed to the magazine from a single tiny stream. The serial incidences of recent years were all pushed up like a long vine in the ground, one by one, and for many days, news of it was brought up on talk shows and variety shows. The shows, which were comedic and silly, never once uh, tried to touch upon the grim, heavy history that Mion had been bearing. It made me mad to see them bring this stuff up in jest, but there's nothing I can do about it now. How big an impression would these past few weeks I spent in Himizawa have in my life? During these few weeks, I met my best friends and had the best experiences in my life. I'd probably never forget it as long as I lived. As for the distorted images of me that the media had created, after the masses got tired of treating her like a plaything, they would ball her up and throw her into the trash, and then she would fade from their memories. Somebody, as one of the few people who knew the real Mion, I must always make sure I remember her. Beyond any doubt, that will surely become my offering to her. The sky reached so far, and having cumbersomely clouds floating through it. The real summer was just before our eyes. Even now, whenever 10 a.m. came around, I would expect a call from Shion or Mion rather. Now that everything was over, of course she would never call me, but it was precisely because she wouldn't call me that I was scared of who would call me this time. Plus, Mion still hasn't been caught. I couldn't say for sure that everything was completely over. On the other hand, of that fear though, but my prayers that Mion was safe. When I thought like that, I was able to sleep even such a terrifying thought. The lights were off. Before attacking when the lights were off was something that scared me. However, that feeling changed to regret within 2 days. The moonlight filtered through the gaps in the curtains, shone onto the desk and illuminated a doll. That's right, the doll that I should have given to me on that day. She said it was imported from England or something. I was all the rage, didn't she? From what Shion said, the most popular amongst them were the ones wearing the fluffy dress. After being released from the incident, The first place I went to was that toy store after everything was apparently sold out besides the thing on the storefront display. I was confused once they said they wouldn't sell the display products, but when they realized I was the survivor from that incident, they immediately sold. Of course, even if I bought it, I might never have the chance to give it to her again. Even knowing that, I waited for the opportunity to give it to her. I waited like this for the opportunity with it on my desk, so I could give it to her any time. Plonk. There's a weird noise. It was a noise I wasn't used to hearing. It was too big to be raindrops, and it was completely different from the sound most bugs make when they run into fluorescent lights. I think I must have misheard, and this is back into my futon. Plonk. The noise happened again. I wasn't hearing things. I definitely heard it. Where was it coming from? I got up and turned on the light. If, if there was a second there, be a third. From where I thought, I listened carefully. Plonk. The window. Some sort of pebble was colliding with my window. I realized that it weren't being blown there by the wind, rather being thrown by someone. I gave a start. I looked at the clock. It was 2 a.m. Who would it be at this time? I quickly peeked out through the gaps of the curtains. In the light of the gate, despite being so late, I saw someone. They picked up a piece of gravel and threw it at the window. It hit the window, making a plunking noise. Who was it? Ah, I caught my breath in surprise. My eyes weren't deceiving me. That person was Mion. I opened the window and looked at the figure out again. My eyes certainly weren't deceiving me. But isn't this a demon? Whatever. It was Mion. It was Mion. She was alive. Mion pressed her index finger to her lips and made a shh motion, like sure I wouldn't shout. She hadn't while I was nearly about to cry out. Nina was in a very delicate position right now. Even if it was in the middle of the night, I shouldn't call out her name. I waved to her, gesturing that I'd be right down. Flung on my coat, atop of my pajamas, and flew out the door. I quickly hit the brakes before going down the stairs. Although happiness was parting within me, I had a sad feeling that this would be our final parting. So I went back to my room again and grabbed the doll. If there was a God, I don't think I would have ever thanked him as much as today. Even if it was something, even if it would be the last time we ever saw each other, I was so grateful for this one chance to give it to her. Boop-a-doo-doo. I slipped into my sandals, unlocked the door, and climbed the chain, and leapt out of the room, leapt out of the house. Ah, ah, Mion. Ha ha ha, it's been a while. How are you? Been all doing alright? It was like how we used to meet every morning. Mion waved at me and responded like she always did. It was doubtless the Mion, was the real Mion. Are you alright hanging around this place? I really shouldn't be. Haha. She certainly wasn't acting like she knew the police were looking for her, or following her. It was almost like she was a patient who had gotten tired of staying in the hospital and snuck out. Her speech was relaxed enough to make me think that, and I couldn't help but be surprised. That relaxation I thought was more like neon, and I was happy for it. Anyway, what's wrong? What do you need at this hour? I wanted to talk to you one last time. That was when I noticed. Amion's forehead was droplets of sweat. Her expression too, which I had thought to be a satisfied smile, was upon close inspection troublingly slight, and I realized that she was forcing it. Well, I can't stay for any longer. A pained note was beginning to enter her words as well as if smiling was a feat for her. Are you alright? Are you not feeling well? I tried so hard until now, but I can tell I'm done. This is my limit. They're about to come up behind me to take me away. Her smile crumbled and started to stiffen. Did she push herself too hard, too much to come all the way here for me? I laughed her cut off and changed into rough breathing. I reached out to grab her back, but she knocked me away. Are you okay? Don't force yourself. Oh, that's right. I had something to give Mion this doll. I had wanted this to be the last thing because I knew how little time you had left, but this last thing, it. Uh, Yeah, yeah. Oh, I've been stabbed. My stomach is burning. Mion took a meat cleaver like a knife and stabbed me and pushed it tight and took it and twisted it. Mion? Hey, what? It hurts. I made it. I made it. I carried on the ground. My stomach was hot. It was almost spewing fire. Mion watched it, then took a few steps back and cackled. I've done it. I've done it all. That's everyone I wanted to kill. The last words Mion dashed me that day came back to me. After today, Mion will never come back. Today on, even if my body is there, a body is all it will be. By then the demon will have taken it over. The demon. The demon. The demon. Me on. This can't be. I thought we had finally been able to meet. This can't. Mion. I'm dead. A pool of blood of my own design is the doll I bought for Mion, dyed in red. So red. Mion. The good fortune of having been able to allow to meet Mion one more time. The misfortune of that meeting being torn apart from my eyes. Before my eyes. So is Shion also dead? Because you said you've killed everyone you wanted to. Should I be grateful? Or curse it? My emotions were neither of those, as my consciousness has sunk deep into a black swamp. The doll I bought from Mion, the blood, had ruined it. No matter how it scrubbed and scrubbed, it had needlessly been ruined. The sad moon was so white it looked frozen. What? June 28, 1983. A violent incident occurred in Mazawa village, Jinabon city, Preference. The victim was Kichi Mabara, also a victim of the previous string of innocent disappearances. At around 2 AM, he was stabbed in the stomach with a bladed object by the suspect of the last case, Mion Shinozaki, and was gravely wounded. He was discovered by his parents woke up and was transported to the clinic. He escaped death, oh, I'm alive. The criminal fled the scene. On the same date and approximately the same time, a fatal accident occurred in Kamiishi apartment complex in Shinabon City. Reference. The victim was Shion Shinozaki. Late at night, neighbors overheard her having a big fight with somebody and informed the manager. The manager used a master key to enter the room and discovered that the victim had fallen from an A4 balcony to her death. The room had been torn apart and appeared to show traces of a fight. One neighbor has frequently visited the Shinozaki house for a long time. Testified that he heard what sounded like two sisters having a fight, trading insults and back and forth. This was related to the injury case that occurred the same day in Himizawa village, perpetrated by the said incident suspect, and did a thorough investigation. The victims fell straight down into a foliage of a parking strip. Her neck broke and she died immediately. Her clothing was disheveled and her markings that would imply a scuffle. We also believe, however, that it could have been an insanity-induced suicide attempt based on the particular mental state of the victim after the incident. We also are conducting a thorough investigation of whether it's a homicide or not. Higurashi when they cry. I'm still alive, it said, right? I luckily escaped death. So is that mean it's gonna keep going? So is that the first Higurashi when they cry in this chapter? I think it might be. Only 4 or 5 minutes left, understand? Please try not to excite him. Yes, I'll be careful. Clang. The door opened, and as I expected, Uchi-san came in. Hello, Mabara-san. It's been a while, hasn't it? Certainly has been. Tell me, how have you been since then? The doctor says that my, prospective recovery, seems to be going smoothly, but I think I got worse when I saw your face. Nahaha, you wounded me. As Uchi-san gave a laugh that smelled of sweet sweat, He handed Mom a bag of assorted candy. It must have purchased from the souvenir corner on the first floor of the hospital. Excuse me, Miss Babala, would it be possible for me to talk to Kichikun just for a few moments? Mom clearly wasn't pleased at the thought of an officer talking to her son without her there. However, I insisted. Mom, sorry, just a little while. Just 5 minutes, okay? Though grudgingly, Mom left the room. When she closed the door, Ushi-san grinned widely and looked around the room. Hello, Ushi. Room to yourself, how high class. My old lady always gets the shred room, you know. It's quite lively, however. Seems like you're a higher rank if you have a worse disease in a place like this. The sicker you are, the prouder you are. Or maybe the more arrogant. Ushi-san, we only have 5 minutes. I would like it if these were the last 5 minutes we ever saw each other. I don't have any connection to Himazawa anymore, and this isn't Himazawa anymore either. That's because there aren't any general hospitals in Okinomiya. Mind if I take a seat? Down we go. This was a large university hospital in Shinobon City. It was a splendidly urban, entirely different from the likes of Himazawa and Okinomiya. It was hard to believe Himazawa was part of the same city. When did it look like you'll get transferred? Don't know. I'm ready to go whenever though. Our moving plans were delayed a bit because of my serious injury. My parents had already left the house in Himazawa though, and were living in our new one. They planned to have me transfer hospitals to be closer to the new house once I've recovered enough to be taken there. Please don't come to where I'm transferring. I really will get worse then. Man, you really do hate me. It may just be my job, but that stings. That's why I brought you all kinds of lovely souvenirs in atonement. You didn't need to bring me an assortment of cookies for that. Well, you see, there aren't actually cookies in there. Look. Yusan pulls out a can of cookies and, yeah? Oh, I'm stretching my scar. What is it? Cigarettes or something? I didn't know what you were into, but so I bought all sorts of things. Still sorts of cute looking ones, from westerns to comic strips. They have this sort of hate manga aimed at girls too. Oh, I see. Don't bring porn in here. Take them away and go home. Ow, 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 ow. I thought for sure another young person like you would be feeling a little needy being cooped up in a place like this for so long. You stay here too long. The only fish you'll end up with is a nurse one, you know. There are plenty of beautiful things in this world besides nurses after all. Don't decide what to do to mate you in now. Keep your options open. You need to be a more all-rounded type of person. To give Ishi vulgar laugh, paint, grin. Somehow or other I understood. The fact that Uchi was bringing it up like this meant that he had something important to talk about. The incident with Shion-san really was unfortunate. The night I was stabbed by Mion, Shion fell from the balcony and died. They said the police were investigating all possible accidents, suicide, and homicide, but it could have only been Mion's doing. Mion found out where Shion was hiding and pushed her down to her death. Nothing else was convincible. It shouldn't have been an accident. It was Mion. It has to be. The criminology guys are saying it had to be a suicide. But I'm on the same opinion as you, Mabara-san. She pushed Shion-san and also stabbed you in one night. Has Mion still not been found? Oh, that's right. That's what I came to tell you yesterday. Yes, we actually did find her. What? Ow, 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 ow. Only that felt rather strange to me. I partially believed that the incident was truly over. I was partially sorry that my best friend had finally been caught. I felt many other things too. My heart was a maze of emotions. That's not all. In Shinozaki's house catacombs, we found a hidden well. Just as you said, Mabara-san, we found the remains of those who disappeared from the bottom. I see. A silver slip of hope, that possibility I believed in that we could chance Toko alive. Just from the fact that the remains hadn't been found gone. It was incredibly well hidden in those catacombs. I mean it well. It was in the blind spot of another blind spot. It was a vertical tunnel dug up like a well. There was a ladder set up there, and when we went all the way down, there was another tunnel built there going through it. When we have followed it a few hundred meters, we found ourselves at the mouth of an old unused well in the mountains. I wondered if it was like a secret escape route a previous Shinzaki family leader built. Probably was. Maybe it was made in the Meiji era. So I'm impressed they built something like that. Everyone's remains were at the bottom? Yes. Even deeper in the escape, there was a pool of cold tar. They're being casually thrown into there. They had fallen from a fairly high spot, so the remains were completely buried in it. It took a lot of time and effort to pull up their bodies. Did you find them all? I hope that they at least wouldn't find Rika-chan's Toko. That's what I wish for, but my shallow hope was crushed in the blink of an eye. Yes, all of them. In fact, we also found human bones. I think they were decades old. I think there were at least three people. I suppose it's the dark side of Himizawa's history. I wonder how many bones we'll find when we sucked out all the mud. It's a scary thought. That weight has been pushing down on Mion's shoulders this whole time. Mion, we've currently identified people who disappeared from Shinron City decades ago. People are talking about how this opportunity might less result in the disappearing people's cases that have been abandoned. After a deep silence, he breathed a heavy sigh. Yushi-san went for his cigarette to pass the time, but realized this was a non-smoking area, so he gave up and put them back into his shirt pocket. Alright, this is a bit of a detour, but you know Rika Furudu-san, right? Of course, she's my friend. Did she ever tell you something along the lines of her uh, regularly taking insulin injections for diabetes? Rika-chan has diabetes. I didn't know what he was talking about. Actually, we found it in her skirt pocket, a syringe. It was destroyed though, so we couldn't identify the medicine. It was a bit out of place, so I got interested. Like in the first chapter, that kind of syringe? We really don't know anything. Was she gonna attack Mion? I don't know anything about Rika-chan carrying syringes around with her. Shinzaki family cooperates, the Yakuza people. Anyway, there's rumors that they deal in, psychostimulants. I was thinking that might have something to do with it too. Are you trying to tell me that Rika-chan is a drug addict? No, no, not at all. This is what I'm trying to say. It seems strange how you look at it that she would bring a syringe with her on her way to get soy sauce. I have no idea what any of this means. That she was gonna attack Mion. My eyes are spinning. I feel so sick. She was gonna take care of it like she said, so the cat can keep meowing. Are you alright? Should I call a nurse? I'm fine. Please continue. Well, that's all I had to say about the syringe. It was the only thing that firstly struck me as interesting. Rika-chan was sort of like the village mascot after all. It looks like the village is in an uproar right now. Between the old blind believers and the Shinzaki family who killed her, the three families' effective control of the village is basically in shambles too. If somebody came up to talk to them about the dam again with this sort of timing, the entire village would be abandoned for sure this time. I'm not related to Himizawa anymore. I actually was. I just said that because the thought of Himizawa being abandoned was unpleasant, and I wanted to end the conversation quickly. There was a knock on the door. We opened slightly. My mom asked if we were still talking. Whoops. We went off topic, didn't we? What a pickle. I looked at the clock. 5 minutes was long past. My mom told me that there was something he wanted to ask. He told my mother something he wanted to ask and if he could wait a little longer. Is that so? Keep it short, okay? There wasn't anything around the fact that she was thinking what a police officer could be talking to her son about. Maybe we should choose another day for this. Ushi-san, Mion, how is she right now? I wanted to just hear the answer, then get rid of him. Before I tell you that, I need just the one thing from you. I need you to answer something in all honesty. What is it? I want you to take your answer seriously, got it? If you say something's indiscreet, could be viewed as an obstruction of the investigation and you could be prosecuted. Ushi-san kept threatening me until the end. What the hell did he want? Mabara-san, who do you think the criminal who pushed Shion from the balcony? There's no way it couldn't be anyone but Mion, is there? Then he was the one who stabbed you. Please don't make me say it again. It was Mion. Mion Shinozaki. Ushi-san smiled bitterly, then dabbled as the sweat out his forehead with a handkerchief to wipe his sweat. He should have expected an answer, and yet it looked as though he wasn't satisfied with it. You pushed Shion and stabbed me. Didn't you just admit yourself that Mion was the criminal? The evidence we have that Mion killed Shion is based on testimony and evidence from the man living next door. This neighbor is actually a member of the organized crime group. In other words, he was Shion's bodyguard. It seems he's a veteran leader in that vein, and was like a parent to the Shinozaki sisters growing up. That man said this. The noises he heard at the door was just like the sound of a fight between the sisters that he was used to hearing when they lived together. And there was no doubt about it. He said he heard Mion and Shinozaki insulting each other and heard them struggling. At first, though, he thought it was a hallucination she was having based on her dementia. You see, he thought that because that sort of ruckus has been occurring every night. However, that night, that was a lot longer than the rest, and he claimed that he went to a room to give her a sedative. The noise died down when he got the manager to bring him the key. He'd already decided he would at least check up on her, and after she wasn't answering his calls, they took the plunge and unlocked the door. Then they saw the room was a mess. Since Shion had been pushed over the balcony, they decided it had to be have been Mion, and that's how it happened. In other words, he only heard from the opposite side of the wall. Plus, because the apartment complex is connected to the organization, it doesn't have many residents, so they were the only ones who heard it happening. To reiterate, there was only one person who witnessed Mion Shinzaki, and if he didn't see her, then isn't it obviously Mion's doing? And still, Dan, this is what I'm saying. It means you were the only one who saw Mion Shinzaki for sure last night. After all, Bjorn-san, the other witness, is no longer alive. What are you trying to say? I don't really understand. But at this point, Ushi-san paused. The fact that this was a non-smoking area completely slipped his mind, and he took out his cigarette, pack of cigarettes again, a key crack. He lit one with his cigarette, and exhaled a long stream of tobacco smoke. Were you reached out by Mion Shinzaki? Yes, there's no doubt about it. The smoke Ushi-san breathed out floated away, like a thundercloud swept away by the wind. Ushi-san, you can't smoke in here, the nurses will get mad. Actually, we found Mion Shinzaki at the bottom of the well too. What? She fell to her death. We believe that as she was trying to escape the hidden passage in the well, her foot slipped while climbing down the ladder. She fell to the bottom, broke her neck and died. Yes. Same way as Shion. She broke her neck. Well. What? After you passed out that day, Mion Shinzaki tried to escape using the well. But her foot slipped and she died. As if beckoned by the corpses of the other sacrifices, she dropped down there. But that doesn't make any sense, does it? The autopsy came to the conclusion that she definitely died on the same day. She didn't go back there. She didn't go back there after attacking you and Shion. She was definitely dead by then. Her jaw was on the floor. There was absolutely no way that could be. Mion was the one who stabbed me. It had to have been her. There couldn't have been anyone else to do it. Then, who attacked Shion on me? Who was it? The one who attacked you was somebody who was Mion Shinzaki and yet not Mion Shinzaki. My mind became a complete mess and I was starting to lose my ability to think straight. You remember how Mio Takano-san died? Eh? Takano-san? Ah, yeah. I think I heard that she was burned to death in some distant mountains. We learned that she was burnt after being strangled to death. The Goofy Station did the autopsy. It's a little strange. There was also the preliminary autopsy said that she had been dead for at least 24 hours. Since that was contradictory in their panic, they seemed to have reversed it, saying she died earlier that day. 24 hours? So she was a walking corpse? So, that means Morishiro-sama incited, other people to do those things? Is that what it means to be deemed in ways to be controlled by Orishiro-sama? Maybe. Despite me being an absolute wreck over what was going on with Mion, it was telling me there was even more on top of that. I didn't understand the complex things Ushi-san was telling me. The results saying she's been dead for 24 hours, as our own criminologist says, it's pretty damn reliable. So then, what would that mean? I've asked that question over and over. On the night of Watanagashi, you were with Takano-san, weren't you? I was. You also met her the day before on Sunday for the festival, right? I mean, I ran into her too. Yeah? I was with her then. If she'd been dead for 24 hours, then that would mean she was dead the day before the festival. That can't be. She was alive during the festival preparations. However, when you all slipped in the ritual storehouse, Takano-san was already dead. The origins of all that happened. The beginning of everything. My, intrusion into the ritual storehouse, which I had come to regret countless times. The one who tempted me, Takano-san, when she invited us to the ritual star, she was already no longer of this world. Yeah, that's strange. There are too many dead people walking around in this incident. Ha ha ha. An incident caused by a dead person. It ended by a dead person. So apparently they're under pressure to you revise the time of Miyazaki's death. Not the day of the incident, but the day after she stabbed you. Probably pressure from the outside to get this incident wrapped up already. So I'd appreciate it if you didn't say a word about this to anyone. Yoshi-san grabbed his jacket that was hanging on the chair, put out a cigarette at the bottom of his foot, and started pretending to wave away the smoke floating around. I'll stay too long. I'm coming here thinking I could at least end this incident as it applies to you, but it looks like it's gotten more baffling instead. Absent-mindedly, he walked towards the door, looking at me, unable to speak out of the corner of his eye. If it happens, that something comes up to you, something comes up you want to talk about in the future, call me anytime. My business card is in the souvenirs from before. When the time comes, I'll pay you a visit with a wonderful souvenirs again. Shisan seemed to think that I was still hiding something. That after all this, would be hiding something. I'm the one who things have been hidden away from. I'm the one who wants to know. Then let us meet again one time. Take care of yourself. Salam. I listened to the tap-tap of Ushisan while walking down the hallway. I still couldn't return from my state of bewilderment. You wanted to end the incident as it applied to me? When was it over? What was over? Nothing was over. This incident was still continuing. Huh? Then slip, an arm covered in flesh blood, came out from under the bed. I wasn't that surprised. This was an illusion I was seeing. Size via Kiki-chan, I told you, remember? I heard a guttural voice coming from under the bed. I still recognized it as Mion's voice. What, Mion? What did you tell me? I warned you on that day. After today, if you see me, you'll be the demon that has possessed my body. You did, you did say that, didn't you? Sorry. Guess I wasn't careful enough. That's why I got stabbed. Lots of you wounds sustained when she fell over the ladder, and her fingernails were broken and torn. Her arms slowly felt about on the top of the bed, searching for mine. Oh hey, Mion. I just well, thought of a good joke. Want to hear it? The Mion under the bed didn't answer. Let's say that I died here today, but tomorrow I'll still be here living a normal life, so when Uchi-san learnt about it afterwards, the time of the death wouldn't make sense once again, and he'd make a big deal about how somebody who's been dead was alive and he was totally lose his head. Khan-san, then Mion-san, then me third, so funny, right? Makes you laugh, doesn't it? Yi-chan, laugh. Or was it not that funny? Mion's bloodstained hand groped around and found my wrist. Her fingernails were torn. She gripped it hard enough to scratch at me. Ow, ow, ow. Go easy. Ow, it hurts. Yi-chan, I've come for you. I tried to shake my wrist loose. The strength she held, it was unbelievable, and I couldn't. She was only gripping one wrist, and yet my whole body couldn't move. I couldn't even twitch. Fingers were spread out, and I couldn't make a fist either. And that fact that I couldn't make a fist reminded me of the restraining table. I died. I felt a crooked nail pressed against my left pinky finger. Neil's forehead was split open, and with a face covered with blood, she smiled and got right up in front of my nose. Nothing was over. Nothing was over. This incident was far from being over. It was still going on. It was still happening. Somebody please end this incident. This cruel, tragic, unfortunate, sad incident. Please end it. That is my only wish. I granted you one. Before, remember? You don't get any more. Mian firmly held the nail down on my fingertip, and with her other hand she slowly swung a mallet up into the air and... Higurashi, When They Cry, Chapter 2. Alright then. I did a quick save thingy so I can quickly just load back to that so I can get the all session thingy easier next time. That should be it for this time with the Watanagashi chapter. Complete Watanagashi. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's it. Bye bye.